But my beats, they are hard.
HBCU football fans, the Cricket SWAC Challenge Kickoff is celebrating 20 years this August. From Birmingham to Orlando to campus sites and now in Atlanta. The Cricket SWAC Challenge Kickoff has been a mainstay in HBCU athletics. 2 decades of providing a national platform on ESPN and now ABC for the finest HBCU programs in the country and some of the most talented players and coaches that have represented them. Forrest Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Javon Hargrave, Darius Leonard, Rod Broadway, Buddy Pugh, all have left their mark on this storied event. This year, we celebrate by welcoming North Carolina Central and Southern to Atlanta, which has cemented its place as the HBCU football capital. Every team who participates in this event looks to start and finish their season in the A by gaining a spot in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. That, however, is earned by becoming conference champions. And it starts right here in week 0. MEAC versus SWAC. The rivalry is real. Thank you for the last 20 years of support. The story never ends.
All right, super dope video there. Welcome to another episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. back again live from our home studios. Drew, nice promo there to celebrate the 20th year of the MEAC SWAC Challenge taking place in Atlanta, Georgia. You got a little something to do with that.
Just a little something, but you know, some of you guys in the media were benefits of some of the things that we're trying, some of the new things that we're trying, and we'll get into a little bit more of that throughout the discussion. But Bryan,
what up?
Check your watch. You know what this means, right? Lying season is over. It is time to get down to business, Bryan.
We still got one conference that's about to do some lying later this week. But for all essential purposes, Drew, it's time. It's football season, baby. It's football season. Now the talking is over. It's the silly hype season now. Maybe I call it the silly hype season.
We have transitioned from lying season to high hope season. Right now, everybody has this same feeling. Everybody is 0-0.
Yep.
On the FCS level, everybody in 2 conferences thinks they're going to be in Atlanta in the season. On the Division II level, everybody thinks they're going to be in that conference championship game.
Yep.
So, a lot of hope, a lot of hype. And by the end of September, Bryan, maybe a lot of hearts broken.
Well, let's get to training camp, Drew. Before we start talking about breaking hearts in September, we hadn't even got to the end of July yet, and looking forward to the start of the season. It gives us a chance to. This is the fun part because now we can actually do shows. I'm not going to say them other shows that we didn't matter, because it's always fun doing lists, Drew. But now we can actually, we can actually season the meat, and we can prepare to eat now, because we can give some interesting content and some takes on some things related to the upcoming. We can talk about the schedules, strength of schedules. We can talk about all the kind of juicy stuff that get you hyped and ready for the start of the season, I think,
Yeah. Before we were doing a lot of pontification. Now it's time to get back into what we like to do, and that's get into the analysis of this stuff.
Exactly.
Let's break it down.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you to everybody for joining us. We are back on Instagram Live. So shout out to the folks watching us on IG Live. Seems like our platform provider has figured out whatever kind of issues they've had. Shout out to everybody joining us on YouTube via the MyJBN Online, Jericho Broadcast Network's Black College Sports Network YouTube page, where you can join, be a part of the channel, and help support all the things that we're doing. I mean, if you love the content that we did, the live content from the SWAC Football Media Day, all of you guys who support the Black College Sports Network by being a member, a JBN subscriber, we thank you, because all of your donations really help to make it so that we can get there, so that we can bring some good content. I have a little more breaking news a little bit later in the show. Your contributions helping out there. So you can always help out the show by subscribing to the channel, donating via the Cash App, which I'll make sure to put that up here. You can also leave a super chat as well. You can always do any one of those things as well. We say hello to folks joining us on Facebook, Black College Sports Network, or our BCSN SportsWrap Facebook page. You might even be watching on X. And so, yes, hit the like button, share the stream, and subscribe. Give a shout out to my guy, Keith, Fangs Up Podcast. Thank you for joining in. I'll do a quick little roll call, say hello to a few people. The first ones to get in, we won't spend a lot of time, but I like to recognize those folks coming in. Edwin Moore. I don't know, Edwin, you must be on Pacific time. I don't understand. The show was set to go at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. I don't know what showed up on your YouTube feed. Jimmy Mack checking in. Good to see you, Jimmy Mack. Mary 305, happy Sunday to you. Down in South Florida, also a JBN subscriber. We thank you for supporting. What's the weather like in Georgia? Blue Jacket said it's hot as H in Georgia. I am in Florida, where it's just raining right now. What's it looking like for you, Drew?
I went outside today. It was hot.
Turned right around.
No, I had no choice. I had to get to my destination at that point in time, but it was not pleasurable. All
right. Good to see Franklin K. Carlos Brown.
Breaking news yesterday.
Yes, indeed. The Carlos Brown show. Breaking news yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about that. In case you missed any of Carlos's show, go check out the BCSN Pod Zone podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts. In fact, the BCSN Pod Zone, Drew, pull up that little icon that talks about the BCSN Pod Zone while I finished giving a few more shout outs. See if you can find that. BCSN Pod Zone, recognized by a entity as one of the as the #1 Black sports podcast, and that included some names, Drew. There were some names like some 4-letter network dudes who making way more than you, me, and everybody on the network combined, probably, but
correct.
Yes. So thank you to all of you who, if you're not, hey, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, that's where you can just hey, subscribe. Even if you don't get the show, subscribe. That helps. If you subscribe, download the show. If you don't listen, okay, fine, but download the show. If you're so inclined to want to rate it, hey, that helps too. Rate and review the show. All of those things help the algorithm and help maybe keep us at that number one spot going into next year. And it might even be attractive to a few advertisers. We always like. So shout out Southbound 3000 as
Carlos
well.
gotta get me. Open mouth. That was my open mouth insert foot moment of the summer.
What's that?
Carlos with the touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the turf and all that stuff for those who remember that comment.
You'll have to refresh me on that. What comment was that?
I will not. No, quickly, Brian.
Yeah.
They were talking about, they're relaying the turf at Mumford Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And they said they were not going to relay the end zones. They were going to keep the existing end zones. And my smart aleck comment was, Southern's not using the end zones anyway, so the end zones weren't worn out.
Wow. Hello to everybody. even friend of the program and Messy, our Messy friend.
Yeah, that pay attention, Travis. That's going to be coming. That's the insert mouth open foot moment for Brian from SWAC Media Day.
I can't just be a journalist. I can't do Big J journalism without it trying to go viral. So I just want to say thank you, Travis, for doing that for me and kind of putting that out there. It was definitely
15 seconds to regret, Brian.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't regret anything I said.
Okay.
I don't regret anything I said. I regret that Travis clipped it and retweeted it. That's what I regret. And that's all right though. Lennon Blows got some info. Lennon, yeah, let's see. What's this? 50th anniversary of the Gala Spartan Legion on October 20th. Thank you. It's funny, Lennon, I mentioned this on the show, and Drew, my dad, a Norfolk State University grad, he played in at that time, it was not the Spartan Legion, because I'd asked my dad, I was like, Dad, what was it called when you played? And he's like, no, the Spartan Legion thing didn't come on until obviously 50 years would have been what, 75. That name didn't come about till 75, along with I think a lot of the name change from to Norfolk State. But yeah, so they called it. It was just I don't know what officially they called themselves. The band, the Norfolk State Marching Spartans. I don't know, but it was not the Spartan Legion when he was in the band, or my aunt, or my late uncle. They were all band members who marched for the before it became the Legion. They all marched. So I will, Lennon, I'd love to get my dad to homecoming. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, Brian,
yeah.
do those pre-Legion people, do the current Legion people consider them Legion people, and vice versa? Do they consider themselves part of the Legion since they were in a different era? Just name wise,
they got to be like the OGs. That has to. If you were before the Spartan Legion, I imagine you're like, OGs, an OG Spartan. I don't know. I don't know. You're part of something else. I don't know, but that's a good question. I would love to find that out. See what I mean, people? Gosh, I tell you. We'll talk about that in a minute. Boy, I tell you, I didn't intend to make headlines, but I will further talk about that a little bit later. Edwin Moore. Okay, Edwin, you're still on this thing about the clock. Okay, I'm going to move forward here. A lot of you guys posted about the weather. Tampa Bay, it was smoking. See, this is a friend. This is a friend right here. See, try whatever it takes to drive the numbers. Travis understands. He understands what it takes to get numbers. And that's why
from number one to another number one. Hey, Brian, talk about that lid that you got on when you get a chance, man.
Okay, so this happened. Okay, first off, shout out to my brother in arms on the ONG strike zone, Kelvin Rozier. When we were going to the and let me hear, it's a great intro here. The HBCU Swingman Classic, right? We didn't do a show last weekend because we were in Atlanta. And so we didn't do the show, but the Classic was Friday, a week ago Friday, July 11th. And we knew that the goal was to try to get this lid, because this lid, right, this is one of the lids that they do as part of the HBCU night. And, you can see, hold on this side, it's got the, but I think they do something similar with all of the other HBCUs, right? Okay. So let's see, go back to the, yeah, there we go. Put the other screen on there as well. Okay. There we go. You got it. Okay. So the lid is something that Kelvin, actually, I think it started with Marcus. Marcus, my other co-host, he had been trying to get a hold of this hat for the last couple times. And we were trying to get this hat, missed out the last couple years. Before I even got into the building, Kelvin had already hunted it out, found it at the store, and bought us hats. So shout out to my dog, Kelvin Rozier, for scooping the hats. It does look lovely. Braves fans, Atlanta Braves fans, Rattlers, it's a beautiful, it's the old school, the 70s version of the A, the Hank Aaron A. It's all of that. So dope hat. But I do think they do this hat for other schools too. I just never seen it look as good though. So this is my personal thought. Hold on, I'm gonna start a couple things here because I want to keep this thing moving. Okay, so speaking of the HBCU Swingman Classic, Drew, that you and I missed, right? And I'm gonna put you out. I'm gonna put you on Front Street here for a second, Drew, because I'm gonna tell on you. Because Drew somehow found his way in the media box for this event. And I had been asking Drew for about a month leading up. Hey, Drew, who's the media contact? Hey, Drew, how do you get the media credentials? Drew, how do you get the media passes for this thing, right? Drew's like, I don't know. Then one day I look up, Drew's at the media luncheon. And once again, what I say, Drew? Hey, Drew, did you meet the media contact for the? No. I didn't get a chance to meet the media. I don't know who's doing it. And at that point, my dog Kelvin said, B, you might as well just go ahead and get some tickets. So I'm going to shout. Thankfully, Roy came with us. My sister came. Kelvin was there. We got some tickets through MVP, Minority Baseball Prospects, Alex Weiss, Coach Holloway. Not Holloway, Hollins. Yeah, Hollins. Reggie Hollins, former Tuskegee head baseball coach. He and Alex run MVP. And so we got tickets through them. But Drew was in the press box though, folks. I ain't gonna say nothing. Drew was in the press box, probably eating the good food, the good snacks, the drinks, and everything. Tell on yourself, Drew. Tell the lies on yourself now.
Bro, all right. First of all, there was no food in the press box.
Oh wow!
There was just snacks in the press box. Popcorn, peanuts, and the soda fountain.
Okay.
And a couple of candy granola bars, not even candy bars. Number one. Number two, I was not the only person who represents us in the press box because I was sitting next to Jamie Walker.
Oh, Jamie Walker, HBCU Wired. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Number three, someone else applied for the credentials for me and say, "Hey, I got you." Actually, my credentials were granted via Black College Nines. I still do not know how he got hold of the link to apply for credentials. I got the link like less than 24 hours beforehand. And by that time, you guys had already made alternate plans. So that's how I wound up in the press box.
All right. Well,
and when you have a player who's playing in the game and who actually happens to win the T-Mobile Impact Award.
Go ahead and finish, Drew. Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
They kind of wanted to make sure that I was there to capture that moment.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Speaking of that, Morehouse's Elijah Pinkney received the 2025 T-Mobile Impact Award at the event. And I think I had a video. I don't know. Let me see how quick it'll take that video to load. I got a video here. This was from MLB prospects. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna play the video here. This is Elijah Pinkney, who was a shortstop, made history with the national honor recognizing leadership, excellence, and service. He's the first Division II player to play in this event. Is this the third year? Third year. So the first D2 player, and he started, correct?
Correct. Played 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, 5 minutes. Nice. Let's go to the video here. I think it's like a minute-long video here. This is a good video here that was produced that talks about Elijah.
Congratulations, Elijah. I'm so proud of you for representing all of your family, community, and Morehouse in Atlanta tonight. I'm also excited to tell you that you are this year's T-Mobile Impact Award winner. This is a celebration of a commitment to being a leader on and off the field. Hey, boy! Elijah has always been a focused young man, driven towards service by treating others properly and really evaluating how his actions impact others. Congratulations on this well-deserved award, and Granddad would be extremely proud of you. Yo.
Congratulations, Elijah Pinkney from Morehouse College. Tonight's T-Mobile Impact Award winner, which celebrates a player's commitment to being a leader on and off the field and in their community.
Yeah, so congratulations to Elijah. What's the backstory there? Any backstory information on Elijah? I saw his dad mention something about his grandfather. Anything you can add there, Drew?
I've got to take this point of personal privilege, and I've got to take my BCSN hat on and put on my Morehouse hat when I talk about this young man. Young man, 21 years old, Bryan, I'm not ashamed to say it, and it's a testament to this man, his upbringing, and his everything about his spirit and his soul. This young fella has a resume, Bryan, that will put you and I to shame as 50-plus-year-old men. The amount of community service that he finds time to do, and to be one of the top players in Division II baseball, not HBCU Division II, everybody, in Division II baseball. Let me break this down for you. Bryan, he was batting .426 at the end of the season, went into a slump at the end of the season, and still wound up batting .406.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Yes. He had 51 walks, 49 hits, and another 10 hit by pitches to be number 2 in Division II in on-base percentage at .599. And that slump that he had took him from a .607 on-base percentage down to .599. So, and when you talk about his service, this man has been with Morehouse through various organizations that he's a member of. He's been to Panama. He went to Japan for a 10-day event. Bryan came back in and played the same day he came back in, and went 3 for 4 in the game the day he came back. And It was a conference game.
Wow.
The true story. Coach Antonio Grissom, older brother of that name should sound familiar, Rattlers. Yes, he's older brother of that Grissom, Marquise Grissom, is our head coach at Morehouse. And he saw Pinkney pull up to the stadium, and he's like, "What you doing here?" It's like, "Coach, I came to play." He's like, "I came to play." No, he's like, "I came to support my team." He's like, no, the hell with that. Put your jersey on. You playing today. And once again, I said he went 3 for 4 in that particular game. I don't know, but he came in from Japan. I don't know. Guess he got a couple hours of sleep, slept on the plane, but he played that day. So
let me take a second. I'm reading your article that you wrote on blackcollege9s.com. I'm gonna encourage you guys, if you're not a regular on blackcollege9s.com, go check out. Drew wrote an article earlier in it would have been last week. But just a couple of the on-field and off-the-field stuff. On the field, some of his honors include he was the 2024 SIAC first-team all-conference shortstop. And also in 24, he was the Morehouse College Athlete of the Year. And that's all athletes, all sports, right?
Correct.
And then 2025, he was Minority Baseball Prospects HBCU All-Star. He was Black College 9 Elite's second-team infielder. And that's some of the honors, of course, and the T-Mobile Impact Award winner from the game. That's on the field. Off the field, though, he's a double major in business admin and journalism. My God, that's two majors that, Drew, they discourage me from doing that at FAMU. Obviously, you probably know which school said don't do that. But that's what I wanted to do when I went to FAMU. He maintains a 3.88 GPA, holding leadership roles, including Vice President, Chi Alpha Sigma Athletic Honor Society. He's the sports editor of the Maroon Tiger. Wow. He's the chief editor of Litarius Magazine, which is the Thurman Honors Program. Or did I say that? Literia. Okay, I got it. Let me get out of that. He's the executive board member, Morehouse Association of Black Journalists, and Bloomberg Journalism Program Scholar. Yeah, Drew.
Those just the highlights.
That's the highlights. Yeah,
Brian,
that's just the highlights. Yeah.
And the reason I can tell you this, because I'm one of the people who worked on his nomination and submitting him. I had to cut.
Good choice.
I had to cut it down to 3 pages. Did you hear me?
Get to the important stuff.
I had to cut it to 3 pages.
Yeah.
So that it wouldn't get too long.
Jesus, man. Well, all of that said, you ended up with a great game. And of
great
course,
comeback by the National.
Yeah, great comeback by the what was it? The American League team? National League team. That comeback was courtesy of guess who, Drew?
Jay Campbell.
Woo! There he is, the true freshman from Tallahassee, Florida. First team All-SWAC from Florida A&M. Hits that 2-run homer in the bottom of the 7th inning to tie up the game at 4. And that team ended up winning. What was the final score of that game?
It was 7-4, I believe. Yeah, 7-4.
7-4 win. And there you can see there's the team celebrating their trophy. So awesome work. But congratulations to everybody that made that happen, especially, King Griffey, Major League Baseball development, Major League Baseball, all of it. I saw.
And a couple of players got drafted after that game.
I'm going to bring that up here in a second. Attendance-wise, there was about 20. I saw reported that's 20,000 something was in attendance. It was a beautiful crowd in the mezzanine. Beautiful people in the stands, sitting, watching baseball. Man, don't tell me black folks don't enjoy baseball. Don't tell me that baseball is dead in the black community. This event will tell you otherwise.
2 things that I think helped that crowd, Brian. Number 1, the location. The fact that this game was in Atlanta definitely helps. The only other time this game has been played in it was in Seattle the first year, and then it was and then Dallas last year.
Yeah, because I think Arlington
Yes.
was the host. Yeah.
Right. So this is the first time that this game has actually been played where
In the South?
where there are HBCUs
Oh, okay.
in the region.
Right.
So and then
But
we know
I heard the crowds at the previous two, especially the first one in Seattle, was good. I mean, I don't know what the attendance numbers, but I heard it was a good crowd.
Yeah. And walking around because we did have the 37-minute rain delay. So it gave me an opportunity to come out the press box, Brian, and walk through the corridors. And you could attest to this more than me. But when I was walking through the corridors, it literally reminded me of the Celebration Bowl with all of the HBCU paraphernalia and everything that we saw down there with all the folks. I mean, I saw schools that had nobody in the game, but I still saw jerseys and everything else of people who didn't have anybody in the game, and all of the Greek paraphernalia, the Greeks stepping on the respective dugouts prior to the game, the Georgia Bass marching band, I believe it's called, playing the various anthems and everything else. It felt like a football game. They just happen to have bats and balls.
Yeah. Next year, the All-Star game will be in Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna expect our Northeast HBCUs to show up and show out for that particular event.
Before we close this segment, you did mention that 4 Black college players were drafted in the MLB draft, which was like that weekend. Like Sunday, that was a Friday.
Yeah.
The
Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, Sunday and Monday, you had the draft for HB. Well, it was the Major League Baseball draft, and you had 4 guys that got drafted. First up, you had Brody Popple, who was the first HBCU player drafted in the 13th round by the San Francisco Giants. Of course, he's a first-team All-SWAC player, Florida A&M. He was a catcher, hit .325 in 58 games. He showed a little bit of his speed in that All-Star game, too.
Stole the base.
Yeah, had a single. He actually turned a single into a double. So he plays a little outfield as well. So a good representation for Brody in that contest. And then, of course, Cardell Thibodeau, who, what doesn't he do? I mean, he was, I think, what was the stat? He was the Black College Nines Player of the Year, outfielder. He was selected in the 16th round by the San Diego Padres. Let's see. Prior to his selection, the last Jaguar to be drafted was Javion Williams back in 2019. Thibodeau hit .439 in 49 games, 13 doubles, 5 triples, 18 homers. Didn't he have some kind of distinction nationally in terms of his hitting as well? Wasn't he like one of the top? Huh?
That was 3 months ago. I do remember his name being mentioned somewhere, but I don't remember what the stat was, so I'm not even going to get on here and lie.
All right. You Southern guys in the chat room can refresh, and I'll show it. And then also we had
Juan Cruz.
Juan Cruz get drafted in the 20th round, pick 591 by the Washington Nationals. Let's see. He was, the Hornets actually had a player drafted in the 2024 draft. So that's consecutive years for him. Cruz hit .420 in 60 games with 23 doubles, 2 triples, 14 homers, in addition to 73 RBIs. And then also from Alabama State, you had Cameron Douglas. He was in the 20th round, just a few picks after Cruz, pick 609 by Detroit. He hit .335 in 59 games, 16 doubles, 2 triples, 17 homers, 65 RBIs. Nice. So, Drew, do you know compared to previous years, we always like to do this comparison thing of how many guys got drafted. What was the number last year or maybe the previous or 2 years ago in terms of HBCU guys that got drafted in the Major League Baseball?
I do not know. I know the draft was cut after the pandemic. The number of rounds of the draft was cut after the pandemic when they cut it down to the 20 rounds. Because I think the pandemic, it was only 5 rounds or so like that that year. Then after that, they went to 20 rounds. So I would have to do that research. But I think 4 is a very respectable number, Brian. It's more than we got drafted in any other sport, but they've also got more rounds. So let's keep it relatively speaking.
Yeah, let's keep it relatively speaking. Yeah, I'd love to know if anybody knows or has that information. Feel free to go ahead and share that in the chat. Would love to hear that. Okay, let's go ahead and take our break and come back, and let's get into talking about some of the media day stuff. We're going to start with the SIAC. In this show, we're going to kind of recap because you had 3 HBCU conference media days that took place last week, plus an additional school, Tennessee State, part of the Big South OVC. They had their media day as well.
And the SWAC press conference.
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, all of that happened last week. So we got a lot to get through, and we promised to do it in a short amount of time so that we can be out in a reasonable hour. You're watching the BC.
Don't let Kelvin and Marcus talk about you again.
Yeah, exactly. It be your own people, man. It be your own damn people every time. All right, let's take that break. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
History? Yeah, we built that. Pride? We fuel that. And on August 30th, we run that. 2 powerhouse HBCUs, Howard Bison, FAMU Rattlers, one legendary showdown under the Miami lights at Hard Rock Stadium. The energy unmatched. The culture undeniable. The vibes straight HBCU. 2025 Invesco QQQ Orange Blossom Classic. Get your tickets and book your hotel now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Saturday. There's a shot.
That
Right.
might be.
It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew here, broadcasting from our home studios. All right, so busy week last week. You had, again, SIAC Media Day, CIAA and SWAC Media Days, MEAC SWAC Challenge Luncheon, Kickoff, Press Conference. All of that stuff going on in the course of a week. So we're going to start with the SIAC, really kind of get into it. Now, I will admit here, you know me, guys, when I do this show, I like to try to come with some graphics, try to give you guys some visuals. I have absolutely no visuals from the SIAC. Now, might be a couple reasons for that, Drew. Now, hold on. Let me preface here. So for all of you watching here, okay. While I may be critical, the views expressed in this segment.
Wait a minute. Hold up, Brian. Hold up.
The views expressed in this segment only reflect my views and do not reflect the views of my co-host or this network. All right. I think you can come back now if you want. I mean, obviously, I know you may want to stay in the background. All right. The reason why I don't think I found any graphics is because the SIAC didn't put out any graphics. I don't know where the graphics were. Maybe they're on Instagram. I don't know. The SIAC seems to believe everybody's just on Instagram and nowhere else. Unlike some, I don't know. But anyway, and it was not carried live. In 2025, Conference Football Media Day was not carried live, even though the SIAC has the SIAC Network.tv. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Now, also what was new this year for the SIAC, it was moved from Atlanta, Georgia, which is where it had been, which always made it kind of fun. It was in Atlanta. You can come up to Atlanta on Tuesday and then jet from Atlanta and go over to Birmingham on Wednesday and then come back to Atlanta for the MEAC SWAC presser. It was a great 3-day event. Well, this year, because of a couple of things, the SIAC had their football media day in Macon, Georgia, instead of Atlanta. Now, where exactly in Macon was it, Drew? Because I have no idea.
The Tubman Museum.
Okay, that is as in Harriet Tubman.
Correct.
Tubman Museum. Okay. It had been previously held in the College Football Hall of Fame, which was occupied this past week by the SEC, and also just happened to be Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend happening around the same time. So you probably had a limited hotel space availability downtown, and you had the SEC. So either one of those two things are going to bump a Division II conference's media day out, right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So I asked a good friend of the program, asked Keisha Kelly. I asked, hey, Keisha, what'd you think? Because she was in attendance. I asked Keisha, I said, Keisha, what'd you think about the media day's move and location? Of course, she thought the Atlanta was better, easily a better location. But I will say what shocked me, and I mentioned about the whole lack of a streaming thing. I want to make sure to give a shout out to Michael Jefferson, urstreet.tv, who did carry it the media day live. Like, you see these great visuals, right? Hold on, stop right there. Just go back. That angle right there is where they stuck all the media people, apparently.
In the back up top. And so Jefferson had to stream or record from that vantage point instead of down on the floor, which is where you see all these great photos taken by the SIAC, I'm assuming. But for some reason, nobody thought to say, hey, let's stream this live via what? Our own network. And hey, maybe we can promote our own network in the process. Now, there was a secondary broadcast after all of these panel conversations took place. Good friend Jamie Walker, who I saw Jamie Walker in the chat. Jamie Walker was doing some live streaming with UEN, and they did kind of a post conversations and things of that nature following this segment here, which also was kind of odd, Drew. In previous years, they've had one school at a time. This year, I don't know if it was because of time or what reasons, Drew, but they brought up two schools, as you could see. In your objective view, I know it might be hard for you, what was your thoughts on everything that took place at SIAC Media Day? And Drew, hold that picture right there. There's a classic photo. We're going to talk about that one.
We'll come back and talk about that photo in a second. I would love to hear, and I'm not trying to, I know I'm being messy, but really.
Wait a minute. I see Jamie in the chat.
He is in the chat.
Jamie, shoot me a text if you got time to come in and talk about this.
Because we can definitely pull in Jamie.
I'll send you the link.
We're not trying to mess up anybody's paycheck. So obviously Jamie doing work for UEN, HBCU Wired, it's his platform. I'm not trying to mess anybody's gig up. Again, the views expressed in this segment are Brian Fulford, not the Black College Sports Network, not A.D. Drew. This is me. So I'm just going to keep it real like I do on this show, on my show. So it is what it is. But anyway, Drew, what's your thoughts? And if I can find the predicted order of finish, we'll talk about that in a second.
My thoughts, it was tough having to move the media day. Obviously, selfishly speaking, I would want the media day to be in Atlanta, because then it would be easier for me to go home afterwards. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I got you.
There would have been 2 hours out of my life there and back. 2 hours down, we're hour and a half down, hour and a half back, that I would not have had to waste. I do understand the reasons why the SIAC Media Day had to be moved. And you guys give me just a second, Brian. Jamie, if you are available, I did send you that link via text message. So if you can join us, please do. But with everything else with SEC, in addition to the All-Star game going on that same week, hotel rates were probably out of the roof for the other 9 institutions that may have had to travel up that particular day. Okay. So, but it was different this year. This is the first time I've been on the other side. Uh-oh.
What? Oh, yes. Yeah, Jamie. I don't want to tell my man's business. Jamie had a
he put it out there.
Yeah, he had a incident at the grocery store. And Yeah, they tried to take him out. They tried to take him out, man. You know,
Yeah.
I'll try to take a brother out.
Gotcha. But it was cramped. I will say that. The setting was a little cramped. The museum itself, great museum, would not have been my first choice for a event with that many people there. And that's about as far as I would wish to comment right now.
Was it bigger or smaller than the College Football Hall of Fame?
Oh, smaller.
See that, and I'm not gonna lie, you know, they do a wonderful job of getting as many people inside of the College Football Hall of Fame when they do that. So, you know, for having that kind of access, it's interesting. Let me go through the predicted order, and I know I think Jamie is in the background, so let me do the predicted order of finish. I'll go from there are 13 schools, just in case you guys didn't know, from 13 to 1. In last place, or predicted to finish last, Central State. In 12th, it was Lane College. In 11th place, Morehouse College, which that sparked some fascinating discussions.
No, it wasn't a fascinating discussion. That was Keisha being messy. And I'm calling her out. That was Keisha Kelly being messy.
Not even going to put it out here on the show how messy Keisha was being, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's just say Drew does not expect Morehouse to finish in 11th. That's all I'm going to tell y'all, okay? I'm going to leave it at that. In 10th was Kentucky State. 9th was Allen University. 8th was Edward Waters when they had that man. Hold on, go back to that picture. 8th was Edward Waters when that man was the head coach. I don't know now.
Wait a minute, let me see if I can move the cursor. Right here, this man.
This man, right? Zoom in, that guy right there, Toriano Morgan. When he was the head coach, they were predicted 8th. I don't know if that changed. We'll talk about that in a second. In 7th was Benedict. 6th was Savannah State. 5, Fort Valley State. Let me see. Here we go. Let's go. New coaches. Fort Valley State has a new coach. 4, Miles. Miles has a new coach. 3, Tuskegee, returning coach. 2, Clark Atlanta. See, now they want to give Clark Atlanta their praise, right? A year ago, wasn't Clark like 12th?
Rat poison.
Yeah, rat poison. So here we go. I don't know if Coach Keaton can run with the rat. I don't know if he can run with the rat poison thing back-to-back years. It works. It worked initially, but you can't go to that every year, Coach. So so let's see if he comes up with something new. And then predicted to finish number 1 was Albany State. The Golden Rams, led by FAMU legend Quinn Gray. And joining the show now, Jamie Walker, HBCU Wired, Aggie alum, Aggie Pride. What's up, Jamie?
Aggie Pride, man. How y'all doing? I hope you can hear me.
You sound great. Probably sound better than you feel.
Man, you know what, man? I'm actually not in that much pain. It's just mobility more than anything. But man, that whole situation has been crazy. It's been a crazy 48 hours, man. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we don't have to get into. If you follow Jamie, you know, if you follow Jamie on social media, you know what happened. There's no truth or no confirmation that Keisha Kelly had anything to do with it after Jamie had posted some real. He came out of left field on Keisha on Twitter, and so there's no confirmation that Keisha got him low when she was at the Kroger. So we cannot confirm or deny that, but it wouldn't surprise me if she snuck it, Jamie.
I just want to know one thing: was the culprit an eagle, Jamie?
No, the culprit was not an eagle, man. It was self-inflicted, man. 2 3, self-inflicted, man. I hope it wasn't any bad juju. I was hanging with some Eagles at the SWAC before all of this happened. So I don't know. But
there you go. Yeah. All right, Jamie. So we brought you in. You were there doing some live live video work with UEN. You know, as much as you can or want to get into it, what was your thoughts on the media day experience? Biggest question is, did you guys get a chance to talk to every school, 13 of them?
The only school we didn't get to talk to was Albany State. They kind of got out of there beforehand.
The number one favorite team out.
Yeah, that was unfortunate because I wanted to talk to them exclusively, man. Just being what you got back, man. You're talking about it projected anywhere from 15 to 18 starters coming back for that squad, man. They are absolutely loaded. Quarterback coming back, running backs coming back, great receiving core. So you're talking about a team that's absolutely loaded. It's just a matter of them really just putting it all together and finishing. I think the first year of the Quinn Gray era, you had a team that backed their way into the championship game, and got beat, but they had a favorable record. Everything for them this year kind of is lined up for them to take it. So yeah, it's crazy. And thanks to everybody. Yes, I realize Travis and Sly and all the people, I'm getting old, but I'm still younger than these cats.
Thank you. Your recovery will be much faster than theirs. Let them know, Jamie. Let them know. Albany State also had the Offensive Player of the Year, Isaiah Knowles, redshirt junior from Tampa, Florida. Knowles plays what position, James?
QB. He's the quarterback.
QB1.
All right. And then the Defensive Player of the Year was Tymetrius Patterson.
Yeah, from Benedict. With him and Nashokwa is a formidable defensive line for Benedict. I'm actually curious about them too because they finished in the projected order of finish a little higher than people probably think they should, but offensively they were good enough to score points last year. And I think in that Dickerson era, I think they're just getting started. He got hired late last year. So it was one of those things where they just got around, to really implementing everything they wanted to do. So I think they are a pretty good team. It'll be interesting to see how they fare against Fayetteville State.
When I go back and look at the first team here and damn Aggie Eagle rivalry in the chat room on the show here. Shout out to Johnny. Appreciate you, Johnny. I see Albany State has first team tight end, Gentry Sparks. First team, both receivers on the first team, Albany State in Jamil Williams and Javion Jackson. First team, I think did I see running back on here? Yeah, the running back is on here, Tiant Weiss. Yeah, I can see why Coach Gray wanted to get out of there because if anybody's going to use rat poison this year as a mantra, it's going to be him because everybody thinks they're loaded to the hilt with all these first team selections and all SIAC. Yeah, you don't want your guys talking to many people. They don't want them feeling themselves. So I understand that.
Naturally, man. I think when you have that squad that is essentially the hunted, and the way media day went, they were the last team based on projection. So they were able to get on the stage by themselves, and I think really they are the highlighted squad, and justifiably so, just based on the numbers that's coming back for them. But the SIAC should be interesting this year. I think last year really they took, I won't say a step back. Because look at what Miles did. But as a conference versus the CIAA whooped them. And I think this year, the SIAC will have a lot to say about that just when you have that conference head to head. And based on the rule changes, this is a golden opportunity for the SIAC to get multiple teams into the playoffs this year. The conference scheduling, I think the commissioner kind of mentioned that at Media Day. The arrangement with Conference Carolinas was already there. They talked about it a couple of years ago, but they announced it again. It actually has a schedule where the third and fourth place team will be playing the Conference Carolina team where the first and second place team will be playing in the championship. So you can get that extra game to impress those that's choosing playoff teams. Also, I think the CIAA is in another division or in another
region.
So that helps.
I think it's SR1 is that they're in now.
Yeah, I believe so.
They're in there with I believe the Mountain East with West Virginia State and possibly the PSAC. Don't quote me on those other ones, but they shifted north, and Conference Carolinas essentially replace the CIAA with us and the SAC. Oh no, excuse me, the Gulf South.
Yeah, so that gives even more of an opportunity for more HBCUs to be in the playoffs. And again, after last year, you can see the performances. We can fare well in the playoffs, especially on the Division II level where you've seen successful squads go far in the playoffs. So I think very brilliant moves by those conference commissioners and those in place to try to get more teams into the playoffs. So I like what you're seeing. But kind of, Brian, to kind of answer your question about the media day itself, I think that the Tubman Museum is a great facility. But I think for the media day itself and the way it was structured, you just can't beat College Football Hall of Fame and just the mere space and what they're able to do. I think there are some things that you can do from a structural standpoint as far as design of how it went. I think the question and answer session that we always talk about and sometimes complain about, I think it went quicker than I expected. I think they could have more time for all of those teams to get around to media that's present, because I'm gonna be quite honest with you, those that took the time to get to Macon, deserve to be able to speak to all the available teams. However, as media, sometimes we need to not give entire dissertations, as I learned from
whole podcast.
Yes. Right. From the
podcast segments.
Yes, I saw that from the SWAC Media Day because there wasn't an opportunity for all media to touch all teams. So I think there can be a little bit better structure in that too. But I understand both parts when you're trying to promote a product. But other than that, I would say it was as good as it could be based on the situation there.
Couple things, and I don't know the details yet. Somebody put in the chat wondering who votes for Players of the Year, order of finish, and everything. It's one vote per school, and that could be either the coach, the SID, or those two coming together to cast the one vote for the school. But it's one vote per school in the SIAC. That's number one. Number two, I am interested because Commissioner Holloman did not say this, and I do not have the answer to this. With those crossovers with Conference Carolinas, is that 3 versus 3 and 4 versus 4, or will it be a cross where 3 from one conference plays 4 in the other conference and vice versa?
Great question.
That's going to be interesting to see, because he brought up a very excellent reason for doing this. Is because so many times the SIAC third and or fourth team has been right there on the cusp or even within the top 7 at the end of the season. But because we play a 10-game schedule in the SIAC, those other teams get that one extra game, which has been enough for them to bump our SIAC teams out. And it's the same thing in the CIAA, everybody. I'm just particularly talking about the SIAC since that's the conference where I work, but it's the same thing in the CIAA. So having that extra opportunity to get another game on your resume against a quality opponent, because you're going to be playing a third or a fourth place team who is also going to be playing for the same thing, which means that your it's not RPI, but the number that they use to determine your rating is going to go high because you're playing another team that should have a top rating. And that's been part of the problem with the SIAC, because sometimes after rivalry weekend, sometimes you get a team that has a good ranking against a dog team. And even with the win, it doesn't help them because of that disparity in just their opponent's rating.
Exactly.
This year, Blue Jacket, the SI, from what I've been able to ascertain, the SIAC will host the third and the fourth place game this year, and I think they're just going to bounce it from conference to conference. Did he say it was a 2-year deal, Jamie? I do not remember off the top of my head.
I think it is a 2-year, but don't quote me on it. Don't make it ironclad.
I know it's a multi-year deal, though.
Yeah.
But the SIAC will host the games this season.
Let me ask Jamie and Drew. I know we get into this a little bit later, but maybe Jamie's already started looking at it. Obviously, when you have 13 schools, you have 12 opponents, but you're only playing 8, and then it's a top 2 teams out of 8 games are the teams that advance. So have you started looking at schedules and said, okay, so-and-so has a favorable schedule? I was just looking at Albany's schedule for a second. Is there anything that you or Drew have highlighted or seen from the schedules that make you optimistic about one team or another's team's chances of getting to the championship game?
I cannot comment on that publicly, Brian. But it was a good try.
Drew, I will comment on it based on some conversations I've had with people. I'm gonna tell you what, Albany State has a golden opportunity. Excuse the point, but they have a golden opportunity to, based on their schedule, to get in. I think the rematch with Shaw, which was a phenomenal contest last year, is who they start with. But as far as the conference is concerned, they can have a favorable home schedule, and I think even their road opponents, except for the Fountain City Classic, which is a neutral site game, is there, and they've been able to take that game the last 2 years. So I think that it sets up well for them. I'm gonna tell you a couple of other squads. Tuskegee is one that they get the Central State game under the lights, and Central State still has a lot going on when it comes to settling their staff along with their recruits. I think Coach Carter told me somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 new kids are coming out. So you're talking about them getting in the camp, and really it's going to be tough this year. But I like what they're doing so far. But another squad that sets up favorably, especially with new coaching changes and things of that nature, Morehouse. Now, I don't necessarily know if Morehouse will get to the championship game, but if you look at their schedule, from top to bottom, besides the classic games that they're in with, with the likes of Howard and, and folks of that ilk, they are in a really good position within the SIAC to, if they can, and they have a lot coming back. You got Miles Scott at quarterback, and you have really a lot of offensive and defensive pieces that were there. If they can somehow, just totally based on the schedule, because I don't know what their team will be, but totally based on the schedule, if they can get lucky in a few contests, they can backdoor their way in. Just totally based on your question. The schedule itself.
Let me go to a team I'm interested in, and yes, I appreciate Drew stepping out of the room on that one.
I had to recuse myself from that conversation.
What was your take on Allen University when you talked to Coach Pearl, Jamie? Because I did the AME Classic last year between Allen and Edward Waters, and Coach Pearl, I learned a few things about. Obviously, he came in very late, but he was optimistic at the end of last year about what this year would look like. So I'm just kind of curious. That to me might be my dark, without doing a whole lot of research, but just my conversations from last year. That might be a team that I'm interested in seeing. Okay, can they move up into the top 4 at some point this year? What's your thoughts on Allen?
I think they are absolutely capable of doing that. If you look at their games last year that they lost, they were in. I think when you bring back, and you got to understand the turnover on that squad. First of all, Coach Pearl was ready at media day. because I think he thought they were sleeping on his squad, and understanding that again, I always look at teams, and if you have your signal caller with experience coming back, that always gives you a leg up versus these quarterbacks that are sometimes picked off and taken from these schools. So when you're talking about Jameer Dismutes for Allen coming back along with the running back corps, because you have to understand, even though Bo Harrington, which was the running back for Allen a couple of years before under Teddy Keaton, was a phenomenal back, he didn't play last year for Allen. He didn't play much at all. So, the running back corps was already intact with some backup runners that were fully capable. Also, when you're talking about defensively, it was just a matter of getting all their defensive pieces in. So Allen is one of those squads that quite potentially can jump up there because they have a lot of good pieces coming back, and they didn't get picked off by the portal.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay. As we get ready to close this segment up, talking about the SIAC, Jamie, any bold predictions that you want to make or care to make regarding a team or two in the SIAC?
Wow. Bold predictions. Watch out. I won't say it's bold. Watch out for Edward Waters.
Despite
Brian Jenkins,
everything that just happened.
Yes. Brian Jenkins is a hell of a coach, man. And I think that team will galvanize around the losses of the coach. And I think that staff has the support of the president and the brain trust around their area. I think it may do something to that squad because I think they were already under a lot of pressure in general. They get Noah Biden from Southern. Watch Edward Waters. Just watch them. We'll see what they do. I think they'll do better than expected.
So if anybody is wondering what, like you heard Jamie and you heard us kind of hinting and teasing at it, and you're like, what happened? Yeah. So Jamie, after you had your conversation with former Edward Waters head coach Toriano Morgan, and after he left the building, apparently he left the building and then went and turned in his resignation sometime either on the road back to Jacksonville, or maybe he sent it in via email. Maybe it was like on a timed email release. I don't know when he did it. But
he probably got back to Jacksonville so he can make sure he got his mileage money.
At some point, the craziest story, we're sitting there at the little social, and it's like, wait a minute, the Edward Waters coach resigned. I'm like, what?
And all three of us were there.
All three of us were there, and we were all sitting there like, Jamie, didn't you just talk to him? He's like, yeah, I just talked to him. So Toriano Morgan resigns. Edward Waters made a quick move. We know Dr. Faison doesn't they don't wait, they don't mess around. And they quickly named Brian Jenkins, who was on the staff, been on the staff for the last 2 years, former Bethune-Cookman head coach in the good years that Bethune-Cookman football had.
The one rattlers like to forget.
Yes, exactly. When they had really good squads in the early 2010 to 2014 national championship squads. Then he transferred. Then he left, had to leave, and went to Alabama State, and he was there for a few years. I think he did pretty good. Did well there as well. And so he will be the interim coach. Now you're saying, well, what did Morgan do? Well, Toriano Morgan. We saw a statement initially that said he was leaving for personal reasons. That could be anything. We don't know if it was family or health. But there was speculation that he was moving up from Division II, either to Division I or professional job. But we were like, no, he's not really going professional. We kind of learned. But by the end of
by
Friday, so that for those personal reasons lasted for about 48 hours. Then we come to find out via Tennessee State University that he is joining the staff under head coach Reggie Barlow, who has assembled a hell of a staff of former professional and collegiate coaches, names like Greg Williams, who now I think Williams was with him at the DC Defenders, of course, also had some hellified defensive squads with the New Orleans Saints, the Los Angeles Rams. You can see Toriano Morgan up there, but most importantly, look at that name to the left of Morgan, Shannon Harris, who just won an XFL championship with the DC Defenders. When Barlow he left the DC Defenders like 1 week before, you got to think that all these conversations happen, right? Barlow's telling Harris, look, man, I'm about to take this TSU job. You're going to do a great job with the Defenders. You might even win the doggone thing. When you win the thing, guess what? I got an opportunity for you at Tennessee State if this thing with the Defenders looks kind of, if the money ain't right, blah, blah, blah. Well, what do you know? Harris is now with Tennessee State. And so that's the full circle and a crazy 72 hours of coaching moves. Care to comment, Drew or Jamie?
I got a jet, so let me comment real quick.
Yeah, okay.
There had to be some talking, and I listened to a couple of people talking about this very thing. So it had to be some conversation beforehand. Coach Morgan is a really good guy for the interactions that we've always had. So I hope that the personal issue is not anything that's earth shattering or anything that's really bad or health related or things of that nature. But it was quick, and it may have been a goal. And I'll also say this was a pressure cooker year for him, even at Edward Waters.
Yep. So
it may be more preemptive than anything, and also maybe a combination of him going back to his alma mater. So, we'll see. I wish him well. Not against our Aggies, but my Aggies, but whatever works for them.
Well said. Well said. All right, Jamie, I'll let you get out of here. Appreciate your time today.
Man, no problem. Appreciate y'all.
All right, be well. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
All right, Drew. What's your take on these moves? Coach Morgan. The part I didn't know about the alma mater thing. So, nobody talked about that on Wednesday, which I guess now
we didn't know Wednesday. It was Tennessee State.
Yeah,
we can talk about that portion of it.
We got to start just going to the alma mater, because we start looking at where they've coached, but then we got to just go back and say, well, wait a minute, where did he go to school at?
Right. Well, number one, let's go back to the Brian Jenkins portion of it.
Yeah.
You act like Edward Waters really had a choice but to name somebody who was already on staff as the interim, considering you just had media day. You do not have time to advertise and go through a coaching search. So
and Jenkins is a head coach. He has head coaching experience.
Right. So you had to go with an internal candidate. So you just happen to have a coach on staff who has head coaching experience and successful head coaching experience. So that was the only move that made sense for Edward Waters. Right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, what I want to talk about, not the fact that Toriano Morgan landed at Tennessee State, because when we all found out the news, and I'm going to get to that part in just a second, we all said either he's going NFL or he's going up to D1, FCS, FBS, and everything else. We were just waiting to see where he was going to land, because you don't make this move this time of the year unless you've done something improper. You don't make this move this time of year unless you have another job in the works, contract signed, because you don't do this on speculation. You got to have the ink dried on something else so that you do this. Now, I got to give a shout out to Stephen Gaither, Stephen J. Gaither. Let me tell y'all why. Courtesy of the SWAC Challenge on Wednesday night after the SWAC media day in Atlanta, there was a reception. It was a media-only reception. So different members of the media were invited out, and for lack of a better words, it was a kickback. We all just had an opportunity just to chill, relax, and Not have to worry about breaking stories, taking pictures, and all the stuff that we do on a regular when we are in the media portion of our life. Well, that went out the window about the event was from 7 to 9. That went out the window about 7:45.
It did.
There were about maybe 30 plus of us there, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that picture? Did you ever get that picture?
You want to show it? You want me to put it up now? Yeah, I can.
Go ahead, put that picture
I was gonna hold it for a second, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So there you go. And if you don't realize, that's a lot of the who's who of HBCU media. You can see Dr. Kavir, you can see John Grant, you can see Dez. I mean, you even see White George.
Roy Evans. Yeah, White George is in there.
White George is in there.
Roy's
Bishop.
right there behind Stephen Gaither.
Yeah. It stopped right there. Stephen Gaither.
Yeah, there we go.
7:45-ish. Between 7:45 and 8, Steve comes around and he's like, have y'all seen this? No, he's getting breaking news during the middle of our event that Toriano Morgan has resigned. So he goes around, he tells everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was our conversation. Nobody was thinking about actually posting the story at that point in time.
Except Steve. Steve doing what he does. That's what he does.
Less than 30 minutes later, courtesy of HBCU Game Day, we have this story reported. Now, I'm pretty sure during that time, Steve verified his sources and do all the things that you normally do, and he ran with it. So I want to give a shout out to Stephen J. Gaither, WSSU Ram Nation, for those of y'all who see him in our YouTube chats, for always working. Never not working. We gonna call him Stephen Head and Shoulders Gaither. Never not working, Brian, because he sat there while we're all mingling, having adult beverages, getting all the finger
playing
food,
playing games, having a good time,
and all this stuff.
What?
He's sitting there writing a story on his phone. On his phone, y'all.
Let me read the first couple of paragraphs, because this is the work that this brother does, man. This is why we got to support our black media.
What's the timestamp on that article?
Let me
Does it have a timestamp on it?
No, it just has the date. The date July 16th, 2025. Okay. Author Stephen J. Gaither. First two paragraphs. A fledgling HBCU program is likely looking for a new leader. Toriano Morgan has reportedly stepped down from his position as Edward Waters University head football coach, according to Football Scoop. A former Football Scoop Minority Rising Stars honoree has served as the head coach at Edward Waters since 2021. In that time, he oversaw the program's transition from the NAIA to NCAA Division II and helped establish the Tigers as a competitive HBCU football program within the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, SIAC. He led Edward Waters to its first winning season in nearly 2 decades with a 6-4 record in 2023, and he finished with an 18-24 overall mark and a winning record in SIAC play. Now, let me answer the question here. Why was it a pressure cooker year, as Jamie was talking about, for Toriano Morgan?
Did you hear the year he started?
21. So 1, 2, 3. So this is year 5. This is the last year on the contract, if I'm not mistaken. He had a 5-year deal. He might have even got an extension, but don't quote me on that. So either it's a 5-year, this is the 5th year, or this is the end of the extension. Edward Waters has a president who wants to be in the title race. Okay,
wants to be relevant.
And I start there, and it's not like the AD doesn't want. She wants all of their teams to be successful. But when your president, when the leader of your university, right, and we talk all the time about how absent. Let me rephrase.
Hands off.
how hands-off, better word, thank you, how hands-off some university presidents are with athletics. Dr. Zachary Faison of Edward Waters, he touches every aspect of the university. The same pride that he has in Edward Waters, doubling its applications to its enrollment, to its master's program, he has the same interest and love and care for the athletic programs. And we have known very good coaches at Edward Waters who, haven't been retained for one reason or another, but a lot of times it comes down to winning. And so, not that Toriano Morgan wasn't winning, but Edward Waters has not been competing in or for an SIAC championship, except for that season a couple years ago, that 2020, what was that, 3 season,
yes,
right? And so we could kind of say they took a step back last year, but there's a real emphasis for them to have a great season. So I'm speculating that anything short of not making the championship game or being one of those teams that has an opportunity to go to the playoffs was probably not going to be good enough for Coach Morgan to remain this season.
Yeah. Probably Edward Waters needed to be relevant going into the last week of the season.
Exactly. So, wow, what an amazing week again. And Tennessee, and speaking of Tennessee State, real quick, they were preseason predicted 8th of, I don't know, how many teams are in that Big South OVC? Isn't it like 10?
Something like that now.
Or is it? I just know you guys are crazy. If you think that, again, do I need to put that roster of coaches up again? Jesus, look at this roster of coaches. You think this group of coaches are going to finish 8th? Hell no. I've never felt more confident about a bet than, and I don't know if I can even find any Big South OVC
futures.
True. I'm taking the over. If you set the line at 6.5, I'm taking the over. If you say they're going to finish top 4, or you say they're going to finish 8th, I'm taking the over.
Yeah.
They will be competing again for a championship because they got coaches who know how to coach and they got coaches who know how to win. And I think it's a good bet. So pay attention to Tennessee State this year.
So Bryan, and this is just a question as we go into our next break. Is that talking about the respect that they have for the job that Eddie George did while he was at Tennessee State? The fact that they predicted them so low? Or is that the lack of respect that they have for Reggie Barlow and his coaching pedigree by them picking him so low?
You want me to answer that on the other side of the break?
You can answer it now, then we can go to break quickly.
I think when you have a head coach that leaves, you probably had some players that leave as well.
There's a natural anticipation of some fall off because of that. I give you that.
And I don't think and actually that announcement was made before the 2 hires of the coach from the DC Defenders and Morgan coming over.
Harris
and Morgan. So
that means it was probably voted on at least a week, if not 2 weeks prior to that.
Exactly. So you don't know, and you're just like, well, I see these other programs that have stability in their coaching staff and the turnover, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'll rank Tennessee, and then, but yeah. So I think it's more of that than a disrespect or respect thing, because I think if, thank you, Dave, there are 9 teams. So we're one away from, I just think they're picking 9th because we don't really know where to put them. So we're just going to put them 9th. It's the same thing that I'm sure people from Bethune-Cookman might feel this season, and some other schools. If you're picked towards the bottom, Morehouse, Morehouse. There's certain people within the Morehouse community that are like, what 11th? Oh, we're gonna make y'all pay. But that's just, this one is a little more amplified because you got a new coach. But I'm telling you, take the over in futures on total wins over 6.5, and Tennessee State will compete for a title this year. Prediction already. There you go. All right, let's take a break.
Let's get to the
Come
CI.
back. You want to go to the CIAA?
Yeah, we got to say the SWAC because we want to make sure people stay around.
And that'll be short. All right, so we'll talk about the CIAA coming up on the other side and the SWAC. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being heard.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Attention football fans. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff is back in Atlanta on August 23rd. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC Southern. Join us at Center Park Stadium for a full day of tailgating, football, and bands. For more information and tickets, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew here. I want to again say hello to everybody watching us on Instagram Live. We are back on Instagram Live. So shout out to everyone watching us there. Also, our Facebook friends and family, and those watching on X on Twitter. We say hello and salute you as well. And then, of course, all of the YouTube people. You guys are a good, active community. And so we just want to thank you all for being supporters of the show. Lennon.
I'll hold today, Lennon. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, Lennon.
All right, there we go. We'll leave it at that. Okay. We just kind of finished talking about the SIAC. And then we're moving into the Wednesday as we kind of do our wrap up of the past week. And I know a lot of you are excited to want to talk about the SWAC. But, guess what? There was another conference that decided to have their same media day, football media day, on the same day, same morning as the SWAC.
Does a tree make a noise in the forest, Brian, if no one is there to hear it?
Look, I applaud the swagger of the CIAA. Look, they've been around for nearly as long as the SWAC. Don't get me into counting now.
Longer.
Longer. Okay.
They are the original. The CIAA is the original conference.
Exactly. So I get the whole puff out your chest and say, look, we've been around longer than the SWAC. You know, we're going to do our football media day on this date, and we're going to do it in Durham, North Carolina. I think, where have they done it in the past?
They do it at the site of the championship game, so it's been in Salem for the last few years.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Virginia.
I don't know what, the media, I think what it is when a lot of the same media that was at the SIAC traveled up the road and east, kind of northwest from Macon to Birmingham. That's a much tougher trip for the CIAA, which their media day was usually the following week. So you really or it was either after the SWAC or it was the following week. Okay.
Yeah. It's usually coincided more closely with the MEAC's media day. And both of them were in the same area at one point in time. Although a couple of years ago, they did have it the day before the SWAC. SIAC used to be first, but SIAC used to be a week before the SWAC.
Yes.
CIAA and SWAC tended to be the same week, with the MEAC closing us out. Because I do remember one year in particular, I flew from the CIAA to the SWAC because they were back-to-back days.
Right. So I get it. I'm not going to use the word respect, but I recognize, that, hey, we are the oldest, and we were the first to do a conference network before the SIAC did one, and before the SWAC decided to do one. So, right. And the CIAA's CIAA Network.tv has been around for, I think, at least 3 or 4 years now, and it functions pretty well in its space and gives you an opportunity to see every school, every sport. It is the model that I think the SIAC is striving to replicate, and it's what I think a lot of the SWAC fans are hoping SWAC TV becomes.
Yeah, Brian, while the CIAA may have been first to do a lot of things, they were not the first in 2025 to announce when their media day was.
Oh, right, exactly.
So CIAA, when the other 3 conferences have announced their media day, you may want to adjust your schedule next time.
Yeah. So from Durham, North Carolina, the predicted order of finish for the 2025 season, again, tight on graphics again, Drew. I had to go with what was available. So you get this right here. Now, the first thing we'll talk about is that the CIAA last year, if you recall, had 12 members, and the 12th member all of a sudden was dealing with St. Augustine, dealing with financial issues, basically shut down athletics. And I don't know if the school is on life support at this point, but it's tough times. So they are essentially out in the cold trying to get themselves together. So the CIAA is essentially an 11-school conference in football. And you won't have any of the scheduling issues. Oh, wow, 8 years old. Jesus. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. You won't have some of the scheduling issues that you had last year, where you had schools trying to, let's just say one of the unintended consequences of the St. Aug thing happened in the fact that Virginia Union had a game. Who's that game against? Is it early in the year that they lost?
Right. And it counted for one team, it didn't count for the other team.
Yes, yeah. So you shouldn't have any of those scheduling oddities this year. So they were able to kind of get the schedule squared away where everybody, you're basically playing 8 of your 10 opponents. So again, it was a great season until it wasn't for Johnson C. Smith, because they started out rolling, went hot 8-0, and then fell off a cliff the last couple weeks of the season. Like, just couldn't finish the job. It was an amazing year for Livingstone. Livingstone had been in the cellar. Actually, the CIAA, Drew, this was the first year that they went away from divisions, right?
Correct.
They went to
they were forced to go away from divisions because of the St. Aug fiasco.
Right. And what we found out was the teams that were part of the Old South actually until the championship, actually we saw teams in the South that were actually having good seasons that had been cellar dwellers. They weren't even in the hunt. But all of a sudden, you had Shaw, Livingstone, Johnson C. I mean, even Winston-Salem.
Everybody in the South was over 500 at one point in time late in the season.
Right. And we used to kind of joke that it was Fayetteville State's and everyone else. It was like, for like a good last 5-6 years, it's been all Fayetteville State. And they actually were I think they won a game which actually affected somebody, but they weren't as dominant as in years past compared to everybody else in the Old South, right?
Right.
Okay.
But you had your two northern teams. You had the rematch,
of course,
for the championship.
Right. Virginia Union, Virginia State ended up playing each other again. Of course, they play each other the last week of the regular season. And I think because Johnson C lost that game to Livingstone in the last week of the season, you ended up with a rematch in the championship game. Virginia Union, Virginia State, Union ended up winning it again. Yeah. Good commentary. If you're in our YouTube chat, we got Steve giving us a great recap of the year.
You've never not working Gaither.
Exactly. Okay, so here's the predicted order of finish from 11 to 1. Predicted last, Bluefield State. I believe they got a new coach this year. Or no, second year for their coach. And I'm not even going to try to do this because I'd have to go back into my notes and figure out who is new and who is not. But Steve is in the chat. So Steve, as I go through these names, new returning coach, new coach, you can tell us that. There you go. In 10th, predicted to finish 10th, Lincoln, PA, Lions. Predicted to finish 9th, Elizabeth City State, Vikings. In 8th, the Shaw Bears, right? In 7th, Livingstone, Blue Bears. Livingstone had a great season last year. In 6th, predicted to finish 6th, Bowie State, the Bulldogs. Remember there was a time when they were like the cream of the crop. Like every year, it was like Bowie State, Bowie State, Bowie State. In 5th, of course, the Winston-Salem State Rams. The Rams predicted to finish 5th. Finally had that winning season. Kind of gave hope to people last year. In 4th, Fayetteville State. Fayetteville State kind of been one of the standards of the Old South. Finishing predicted to finish 3rd, Virginia State. The Trojans predicted to finish 3rd. Predicted to finish 2nd. That leaves 2 schools. A matchup that we really thought we were going to get for the championship game, but it didn't quite work out. In 2nd is Johnson C. Smith. Had a great season. Started out 8-0 and lost the last 2 games and lost out on a chance to play for a championship. So, I mean, brutal ending to the season. We'll see how that affects their upcoming year. And predicted to finish 1st, Drew. This surprises me given the amount of turnover. Virginia Union. The Virginia Union Panthers who, if I believe, I heard an interview with Dr. Alvin Parker, and I forgot whose network I heard it on. He lost about 17 players. I don't know between transfers versus graduation. I don't know what those numbers are, but Virginia Union predicted 1. Yikes. But that reload, rebuild. They got a program over there. But this will be the first year in several years, or at least 4, 5 maybe, without Jada Byers behind an offensive line. And Jada Byers, of course, one of the who we picked him number 2, didn't we? Number 2? Yeah, number 2.
Our most impactful.
Yeah, number 2 on our most impactful HBCU football players of the first quarter century. Okay, so let's see. I'm just kind of glancing back at the comments. ECSU has a new coach. Well, he's new for ECSU. Shaw has a new coach. The Rams, Steve says that Winston-Salem is ranked 5th, but that's too low because they beat the team that was ranked 4th and 3rd. Where's the respect? Where's the respect, Steve? I'm sure. Where's the respect? Player of the year. Let's see. Did they do the player of the year, or they just do the first team?
Oh, they have the first team in their release on their website. They don't have to have the player of the year. But to Steve's credit, Dalen Lee of Winston-Salem State is the QB1 in the conference.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Running backs, Travion Tinsley, who transferred from Shaw to Virginia Union, and then
Michael offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, look, any running back, given that offensive line that Virginia Union continues to have, I would definitely want to run behind that. And then Micah Robinson, a Bowie. Now, the wide receiver, Brevin Caldwell, is back at Johnson C. Smith. Now, let me see. Was Caldwell a freshman last year?
He was an underclass. He's a freshman or sophomore.
He had an amazing season, and given all the transfer portal jumping and stuff, Virginia Union, 17 players in the portal last year. Yeah, I was surprised. I'm surprised to see. I'm surprised to see Brevin Caldwell back. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Johnson C. also pick up a quarterback? Durham, formerly from Albany State, if I'm not mistaken, Kelvin Durham. So
Durham was Fort Valley.
But he was at Fort Valley, but he transferred to Johnson C. if I'm not mistaken. If I read the, I try to keep up with
he followed his coach.
Yes. Okay. Any other thoughts, Drew, regarding the CIAA? And I know I've already talked to good friend Chris Ferguson, who he was in attendance. So although I know Stephen Gaither wished that he was at CIAA Media Day, he was with us at SWAC. I think Wally Pitt was at CIAA Media Day covering for Game Day. And I know Chris Ferguson was at CIAA Media Day. So I know we're working on getting Chris, who's a friend of the program for a long time. He will come on and join us, if not next Sunday and one of the upcoming Sundays, to give us a real good breakdown of the CIAA upcoming season. So what's your thoughts, Drew? What's your takeaways for the CIAA?
For me, honestly, it's kind of hard to take away because I didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of it. Mm-hmm. Number one, because I was enamored with SIAC SWAC and BAC SWAC Challenge. And number two, there just was not a lot of reporting that popped up on my timeline on my various social media platforms that I follow that gave me headlines that I wanted to click. Matter of fact, I don't remember any CIAA headlines popping up on my timeline. I saw plenty of reels and shorts and everything else from SWAC Media Day. Saw some from SIAC. And believe me, I follow all these. I follow the CIAA schools. I follow the REACT schools on my timeline. I think I'm friend or follow or whatever you have to do depending on the platform with every one of these programs and did not get anything.
Yeah.
So once again, Brian, is a media day if no one is there to hear it?
Well, I'm sure somebody was there to cover it. But I think you kind of do a bit of a disservice. Look, you have to be, I think all of these conferences have to be realistic that while we have seen growth in the HBCU media coverage, I mean, every staff or entity is either a 1 or 2 person unit, or you have a team like a starting 5. You know, it's a very small roster. You're not. I don't think anybody's has a roster that is 10 to 12 people, and you can send half of the team to one location, half the team to the other. So the disappointing part is that if the CIAA was the last team to announce, it was disappointing that they chose. Now, and I know the CIAA does a 2-day thing, right? They do a community service on one day.
So does everybody else.
Okay, so my thing is, you being more conscious about the coverage and presenting the best opportunity for your schools, you've got to have your media day. Their media day should have been on Thursday, in my opinion. Now, maybe you don't have the access to the facility. I get it. You know, it's possible. But you were the last to announce, which means you knew that everybody else was having their stuff on these other days. Okay. So, I don't know. You know, it's a tough business. And you got exactly media has to make business decisions as well. But, you know, and then I look at the school, and at the end of the day, Drew, then I'm okay. So if I'm not getting anything from the conference, which the conference itself is struggling to push out content and information, then you're relying on the schools. So which schools have staffing ready in July for media day to be able to push out content? Like, you could go through all of the conferences and the SIAC and the SWAC and the CIAA, and all you got to do, guys, go look at the football media day. Go look at the football feeds, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not really following those schools on Facebook, but whichever platform you go to most,
TikTok.
I get, yeah, TikTok even. You know, what are they pushing out? Are they pushing anything out? And that'll answer all the questions and everything you need to know. So, yeah. There you go. Any other? I'm just checking the main pages. See that? Like, I'm checking the main pages on game day, and I'm checking the main page on HBCU Sports. Not one story, not one headline story, and I just want to make sure I'm not missing it. Not one headline story talks about the CIAA. So from that vantage point, CIAA, you fumbled the ball with your media football day, in my opinion. Look at that. He said it.
Not me.
That's all. We can end it right there.
And that's a CIAA for lifer.
Exactly. He follows it heavy. So if he said it, I mean, it is what it is. All right. Well, we will, though, have coverage later. We'll talk, because we're going over the next well, we're 5 weeks away, Drew? 5 weeks, man. Over the next 5 shows, we're going to take the deep dive into all of the conferences. So we'll definitely get a chance to talk about it coming up. So, all right, Drew, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get to where we were on Wednesday in Birmingham, Alabama for 2025 SWAC Media Days in Birmingham. And the first thing I will say, okay, we talked about this a little bit when we had our little social, but I'm just going to say this in public. I miss, and I got Travis in the room, so I want to see if Travis agrees with me here. I miss, where you go? Why you leave the room?
I don't want you to put your foot in your mouth again and be that
Look, okay,
on the screen.
Hold on. Okay. I miss when the SWAC would open their media day with Dr. Charles McClellan introducing the day, the event, and all 12, well, back the last time they did it, there was 12, yeah. All 12 head football coaches would come up on stage with their school's helmet, and it's almost like an introduction to say, ding, 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 the media day event is starting at 10 o'clock Central. I missed that because here's what happened. 10 o'clock rolled around, and because they're doing an ESPN broadcast, and I don't think I saved the picture of the stage and everything. Because they're trying to do an ESPN broadcast, Jay and Tiffany open up the show with a little intro, whatever. But while they're opening the show, nobody in the main room, Drew, was paying attention. I don't think anybody, there was people still talking and other chit-chatting. We're media. We hadn't seen so-and-so. Hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Their coaches talking. Oh, all the media's talking. And then what was even worse is when the commissioner of the conference got on stage, I could barely hear him because the audio from the stage was pumping out into the main room. But nobody, like, where was the respect of the fact that the commissioner of the conference is stepping up to tell us this new thing that the SWAC is doing? Because we had an idea that something big was coming, okay? We wanted to hear from him. His first public comments about this SWAC TV thing was coming on that stage with Jay and Tiffany. But I couldn't hear it. Nobody could hear it. Nobody, I mean, it was like, who's up on stage? Oh, it's the commissioner. I just thought it was the one miss of the day that bothered me. And I guess because I just feel like that moment of bringing all the coaches up on stage centered everybody, because you knew that all the coaches who were around the sides would come up and people would have a photo opportunity to take a photo. And yes, there was what was more for the people online?
I think he's talking about the people coming up on stage.
Okay. I just think I almost want the commissioner to give a State of the Union, give a State of the SWAC.
We used to get the State of the SWAC.
We used to get the State of the SWAC. I love that. I'd love to hear about the State of the SWAC. I want, and I know Dr. McClellan, he went to our network and a few other people, and I'm glad we got some good commentary, which I'm still clipping and I'm gonna post it. And I know he did some stuff on SWAC Digital, and he said some different things in different places. Well, maybe not different, but maybe he gave different further explanations based on the question. But man, I would have really enjoyed give him his 5 minutes of an introduction. Let Jay and Tiffany introduce the commissioner, introduce the coaches, go to a commercial break, and then, hey, everybody go break out into your breakout groups and where you're supposed to be based on the time sheets, where you got to be. But I'm begging, I'm just my one comment, whoever's listening and watching, please bring that back. Bring back the SWAC commissioner and the coaches coming up on stage for the photo op. I miss that. So I don't know. That's my opening rant, Drew. any like or anyone? I know you're working, so you're kind of doing double duty,
bro. It was about 10:30, and I realized, oh dang, this thing had already started because I was moving around.
Point. That's my point. I purposely, because you know what, we've started our show in the past, and my biggest complaint was Roy, we need to be in the room to cover the commissioner's speech, right? And guess what? I made sure we had a camera in there, but guess what? I don't think you can really hear it. You can. There was no. So I don't know, man. It was just. It was a letdown for me. So there's my big thing. All right. All right. SWAC. All kinds of stuff to talk about. Let's talk about predicted order finish to start, Drew. There's the predicted order of finish. I don't think we have too many surprises from the East or the West. Jackson State, Southern, maybe a little bit of a surprise that Southern got more first place votes in the West than Jackson State in the East. But then when you look at the total points, it kind of balances out. Somebody picked Bethune-Cookman to finish first. I need that person checked. I need to know who that is. We need to do an investigation because somebody's. I just want to know what they see, what we don't see. That's all I'm gonna say. No shade. I hope that's not shade. I just want to know what we don't see, because we can understand FAMU got a few votes. Alabama State has Andrew Body coming back. So I know that, last year Alabama State was ranked number 1 to finish in the East. Okay. Over on the West, Prairie View, Coach Jackson, I guess all that internet, he been doing a lot of internet. Their social media team is on point, man. It's the best social media team in HBCU football, apparently, according to Coach Jackson. So, I mean, they got a first place vote. And then UAPB got a vote. Now, this the same, correct me if I'm wrong here, Drew. This is the same UAPB that lost a quarterback who's now at Alabama A&M, who was a pretty good quarterback, which he wasn't invited by Alabama A&M to attend. I'm gonna leave that alone. And a receiver who's now playing, where's he at? He's in the FBS, playing for a Power 4, Power 5 school. But somehow UAPB got a first place vote. Interesting, Drew. That's all I can say. Interesting. No comments. No comments. All right, you're gonna leave that one. Any surprises here, Drew? In Arkansas. Thank you, Chris. Arkansas. Any surprises here, Drew? Predicted order finish.
Pretty much chalk. Pretty much chalk, especially on the east side. On the west, got the surprise, I think, maybe Alcorn in second. But if you don't predict Alcorn second, who will you put in second place? You're going to go with are you going to give a first-year coach that much credence in Coach Tremaine Jackson? Grambling hasn't shown anything up under Coach Mickey Joseph. Texas Southern has, regressed back to the mean. So Alcorn, I guess maybe by default, that may be the only real shocker. A lot of people probably want to put Prairie View in that number 2 spot with them challenging Southern for number 1.
And just looking at the order of finish from last year, of course, we all know Jackson State finished unbeaten in first. Florida A&M and Alabama State finished tied for second. And then Alabama A&M finished 4th, Bethune 5th, Valley 6th. Oh, guess what? Predicted order finish looks like how last year finished. Okay, over on the West, Southern won the West last year. Alcorn finished second last year. Texas Southern finished 3rd last year at 500, 4-4. Prairie View finished a game behind in 4th. Grambling finished 5th. UAPB finished 6th.
So in other words, we went chalk.
I mean, outside of the Prairie View, Texas Southern thing.
Swap, yes.
And so if whoever voted for Prairie View to finish first, that's probably enough points that pushed them to where they are. I will say, let me see how quick you guys are in the chat. Can anybody quickly tell me Jackson State enters the season with how many game win streak? Travis, Jerome, you can't answer this question. What's Jackson State's winning streak coming into the season? Let's see how quickly somebody can figure this out. Drew, do you know?
It's conference win streak.
Total game win streak coming into the game.
10.
Ding, 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 ding. You're correct. It is 10. It's 10. Oh, some of you guys are off. No, it's 10. 10-game winning streak. So that's what they opened the season, a 10-game winning streak. I know it's easy. Okay. Now, the next closest or the next winning streak is how many games? There's only 3 schools that have a winning streak outside of Jackson State coming into the season. How many games? Oh, is it the longest in the country? Okay.
That have a winning streak?
There are only 3 schools.
And streak means two or more, not just one of the last game.
There you go.
Just want to make sure everybody understands the definition of streak.
There you go. Only 3 schools.
I know one who it ain't.
It's probably easy to figure out who it ain't.
I know one. I know Southern definitely is off the list.
Okay.
Bethune is off the list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Alabama State and FAMU.
Correct. And then there's one more.
Ooh.
One more school coming into the season with a winning streak.
Alcorn.
It is not Alcorn.
All right.
It is Texas Southern.
How do I start with Southern, Edwin? Southern lost the championship game to Jackson State. Process of elimination. I'm just thinking back over the last games or who lost their last game of the season. No offense, Edwin.
Right. It wasn't meant to be shade. It was just
that wasn't meant to
real.
be shade. I just knew Southern had lost the championship game to Jackson State. So I knew I could eliminate them from this question.
Right. So outside of Jackson State's 10-game winning streak, entering the season, Alabama State, Florida A&M, Texas Southern all finished the year with a 2-game winning streak. Everybody else lost the last game of their season, whether it had been Southern in the championship game or anybody else. So, yeah.
Edwin, yours was the freshest because you played the last game.
Exactly.
2 games, though, Bryan?
2 games. That's it. 2 games.
Wow.
2. That's it. So,
wow.
Yeah, that just so when we talk about the gap between Jackson State and everybody, you understand. I see it. It should be what it should be.
And Bryan,
what it should be.
You saw it so well that you opened your mouth and inserted your foot.
Man, look.
You got the clip, Bryan.
Nope. I'm not even gonna pull that clip up. I didn't get a chance to clip it.
I'll pull it up.
Don't do that. Don't be
I'll
messy.
pull it up.
Why would you do
come
that?
on, Bryan. Let's have some fun.
You know what? It needs to be more in line with
you need to put the context around it. But the clip itself is priceless.
No, I think it's more so the tweet. So if anything, you have to show the whole tweet for what it was. All right. I'll send it again. Oh, you've done enough damage, Travis. Don't send that tweet again. We were good. We got it. Okay, so I have let me tell you 2 things. Okay. What I like about the media days, you get a chance to talk to people you don't always get a chance to talk to. Some people that we've been on shows with, some people who've done shows with us. We normally get Ken Clark in here, and he and his show, KC 1400 Media, and their collective. I wanted to have a conversation and talk and find out, because I have an appreciation for the work that he and his team does. And they've had a lot of transition over the past year. Okay. So I had a great conversation with him, found out a little bit about him, found out a little bit about his journey and to where he is and where the program is and how their collective supports Jackson State athletics. More importantly, in having a conversation, really the first time I've had a chance to be a part of the interview panel with A.D. Ashley Robinson, I understand now why Ashley Robinson is who he is. You're going to play it. Oh, man. Okay. And who he is. Go ahead and play the clip, Drew.
A.D. Robinson, you have I feel like you're really out front setting the standard to speak in terms of
no,
how
standard,
others
standard is a good word now because we are the standard.
A.D. Robinson, you have I feel like you're really.
I walked right into that. I did walk right into that. Okay. I walked right into that. but no, and where I was coming from with that is because we see everything that they're accomplishing, right? From their collective to their to the administrative support, the collective embodiment of the fan base, the way the fan base support, and the fan base supports, Drew, not just on social media. They support in the stands, but then they support the various initiatives that guys like the 1400 collective and the athletic department, they support all the way around. And it's impressive. But what I found out is there's a great working synergy between what Robinson has built with the university, the Jackson State University, right? And let's be real, Dr. Cavill will always remind us, none of that's possible. None of this great things that Jackson State is doing if everybody is not on the same page. Total support. Exactly, Chris. There is total support from everyone in Jackson State. And I think A.D. Robinson does a great job of communicating that. And then the fan base buys in, and then they support financially. I mean, the things that the collective has been able to put forth in support of the programs, right? It doesn't happen without good communication and good support. So when I said what I said about being the standard, look, as great as Florida A&M is, we are doing a lot of things oftentimes without 100% university support for our athletic department.
We probably do more with less.
I hate that phrase, but you are right.
In any other school, but Jackson State does more with support than anybody. They do a better job at garnering the support that they need to accomplish their goals.
Right. And here's what I found also in learning more about A.D. Robinson. See, a lot of times people think the whole Coach Prime thing, I jokingly talk about the Prime effect, right? But really, let me tell you, A.D. Robinson was there before Coach Prime. And what I came away realizing, and this was my thought here, he needed somebody who could help amplify the ideas that he probably already had in his mind and on paper and wanted to do. He needed somebody like Coach Prime to come in and amplify all of the ideas that he had. And that is why in the post-Prime era, Jackson State is thriving as well as they are, right? And I mean, so yes, it's a testament to the leadership of Robinson and the way he works in conjunction with the university. So that was my takeaway. And if I tell you that I'm envious, Drew, I'm envious because I know how great our university, Florida A&M, could be. And yes, like you said, we do probably more with less. And that less is total support from the university and other key units, because we got, I'll stop. But, you know,
Brian, the envelope should be there by Tuesday, no later than Wednesday. It has a self-addressed return envelope for your Rattler card to be sent back to Tallahassee.
Oh, stop it. Look, and I'm not wearing so Travis, don't you send me no shirts. I'm not wearing those shirts. I've given you the clip of a lifetime. You've already ran it, and all the Jackson State followers have retweeted it. But I am not. Don't send me any hats. Don't send me any T-shirts. I'm not wearing it. I may put it in the background, but that's it. That's the most I will do on Sundays. I'm not wearing any T-shirts or hats. But yes, and shout out to the KC 1400 NIL Collective. We have good people running a collective at FAMU, Fang Exchange. Love it. He still remembers the bet, Drew. He doesn't forget. Jesus, this guy. I just need my university to support it. I need my university. I need more Rattlers to support it. You know, the same. And that was my big message to Rattler Nation when I came back from SWAC. I said, man, if you only knew, if you saw what Alabama A&M is pushing with their collective, if you pay attention to what Grambling State is doing, if you pay attention to what Prairie View is doing, I'm telling you, some schools are going to get left behind if you continue to operate and not support your university's collective. All right, my rant's over, Drew. All
right. Let's get to the BX-SWAC Challenge now, Brian.
We didn't talk about the SWAC TV thing, but okay.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about SWAC TV first. Yeah, that was huge.
Yes, it was. That was the one big announcement. I thought that it came out that was big here. I'll kind of just read the press release, and then we can quickly talk about it, and then get into talking about the MEAC-SWAC Challenge. So again, the biggest news that came out of SWAC Media Day, the SWAC announcing the creation of SWAC TV, which is the new streaming platform. Basically, the way to think about it is we're all familiar with the SWAC digital network via YouTube. This is an amplified rebrand of the SWAC digital network, but now it will be accessible. The SWAC TV will be available August 1st, and you will be able to download it on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Google Play, Android TV. It's a free platform that will feature preseason, regular season, and postseason live events across 18 league-sponsored sports, while also featuring unique feature content, sports talk shows, and podcasts. Okay?
And Brian, you forgot to say to those who are looking for it, it is available now on some of the platforms. Some of the platforms are not live yet, but I do know on Roku it is available because I downloaded it on my Roku once I got back home and this week. So I do know it's available on Roku already.
Yeah. Stem Boy says he sees it on the Apple app already. So SWAC TV will make its live streaming debut week 1 with the Saturday, August 30th game between Southern at Mississippi Valley State. I think our good friend Mo Carter is doing play-by-play for that game. Also, they will have the Langston Grambling State game and Texas Southern at Prairie View. Those last two games will both start at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. A total of 45 league games. So essentially, Drew, if the game is not on HBCU Go, which we saw their schedule, they're doing about 2 games a week, even in conjunction with the CIAA, I believe, right?
And SIAC.
And SIAC, okay. If the game is not there, and if it's not on ESPN, if it didn't get picked up as part of the ESPN package, you know where you can find it. You no longer have to worry about, well, where can I find this game?
I no longer have to put together that where to find, where to watch list, Brian.
Are we sure about that though? Are we sure this fills in? We haven't done our own personal matrix grid to really confirm this. Like I know all 12 Florida A&M games will appear on some network.
Let's think about it. And as we get ready to talk about the BAC, here's the question. We know SWAC has just announced its network.
Yes.
SIAC launched its network back during basketball season. Right. And SIAC has mandated that all their games are on the SIAC network. All their home games on the SIAC network.
Which means every school has to have their S together, right? Have their stuff together. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
CIAA set the standard.
8 years. 8 years. Yes.
CIAA has set the standard. Question of the day: will the BAC announce that they have their own secondary streaming platform on Tuesday?
Ooh, juicy. Well, look, we know that this network wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. It had been in the works for the last 3 years. Yep, 3 years. We also know that they got a lot of help from the SEC and the commissioner and the people with the SEC on how the framework of their SEC network is. Okay. We know that the SWAC invested in terms of equipment. Okay. We know that there was an investment made there. And so I know it created for the last 2 years, there's some people who've been beating that. You seen that little image of the beating of the dead horse? We understand. Yeah. We understand that talking about media rights and broadcasting games has been on the lips and on the fingertips of a lot of people over the last couple seasons. Well, we understand why that the SWAC has been working towards this moment. And the biggest thing I loved hearing is that they got the data, Drew. They didn't just put it out and try to figure out where everyone was. They actually looked at the numbers, looked at the data, and then said, okay, with these kind of numbers, what kind of platform do we need to create to be able to go to advertising agencies and advertisers and sponsors so that, yes, you can really generate ad dollars so that it can remain free. Again, that's the key word. In order for you to remain free, Drew, what has to happen?
So paying $19.99 to watch a game at a Jackson State game is out now?
Let's wait to see what happens during basketball season. I don't know. I was going to say, this doesn't talk about, look, even though the goal is for every sport to be broadcast, but will we see volleyball and soccer matches this fall? Will every basketball game, it's a full slate of things on basketball. So I still think schools will get to keep some content. I don't know. We'll get some more information. I know Dr. Cavill, he's traveling this weekend. Alpha Convention, I think, is where he's at, but he's working. We're going to watch his shows this week. I'm telling you, just be on the lookout. He should have some good info. But yeah, no, I think but here's the thing. You won't have to do the pay-per-view model that has been using to broadcast games. You know what? Now that pay-per-view model will get you, Drew. And if I'm giving this away, this is free pro tip. Pre-game, post-game, coaches shows, bingo. That's where now every school, you want to do something to generate revenue with your fan base. Those are the content that you give your audience. Because certain people, we love to watch the post-game and pre-game and post-game shows, right? Interviews with the coaches shows, pay-per-view. Don't charge me for the game. Let the advertising pay for the game. But the pay-per-view, the extra, should be now, Drew, what? The post-game press conference. The coaches shows. The coaches shows. Yeah. That's where you get the pay-per-view at. You agree? Disagree? What's your thoughts?
I agree. Two questions I have as we get ready to go into break. Number one, who's going to produce these games? As in, will these be campus run, student run, or journalism schools, media majors that you have on your campus? Will they be the ones tasked with this, or will these be third party outsourced? So that's question number one. And along those same lines, what happens during the time of the year when you don't have students on campus? We know there are home games during Christmas break, during Thanksgiving break, during spring break, during fall break. So how those issues are going to be addressed. And will we see just bits and pieces of our non-rev sports? And we'll be able to see this early this fall with women's soccer, with volleyball. Or will we see all games on our campus? Will those non-conference games also be included? Or will it just be conference-only games? Just some of the questions that I have that I know are going to come out over the next little bit that hopefully we'll be able to answer.
Yeah. Again, it's a tremendous opportunity that each school will have, and I look forward to learning more about the plan and the strategy. Yeah, quality of production is going to be a challenge, but let me say, if every athletic department is on task, guess what? Every school has, and you should be. This is fertile training grounds for your communications and broadcast departments. Fertile ground. Not only is everything you need to do to be able to run these productions. Now, I mean, you got to educate. You got to talk about, how you got to go to some practices. You got to go to some scrimmages and do some work throughs. You can't just show up on game day and expect for students to be able to pull off a quality broadcast. Nope, you're going to have to do some practice. You're going to have to do some practice runs with practices. That's your best opportunity. And then hopefully, you're going to get, if you just have your senior level students, broadcast students starting this, I think you'll be okay. Talk to them about how to ask questions. Talk to them about how to talk about the game. Talk, how to do play-by-play. I mean, there's plenty of places and opportunity, but this is all the stuff that's being taught. You're teaching this stuff in class. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You don't have to make up something new. You can teach this within a class structure and then bring it to the universe.
So what are you saying? They learn the theory in the classroom and the athletic events become the lab?
100%.
Oh, okay.
100%. It's either that or, like you said, you have to go out and hire third-party companies.
And it may be a combination of both.
And that's your best strategy, probably, especially when you, like you mentioned, when you have weekends where students aren't available. Yeah, you might need to go ahead and hire a third-party company to do your broadcast.
And also, right now, as some schools are in better positions than others, those schools that are not up to speed will definitely need third-party help getting their people up to speed for possibly this first year.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's take this next break, and then let's come back and let's get into the SWAC challenge, Bryan.
All right. Coming up here, SWAC challenge coming up here in just a second. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. I got it. Yeah.
I got
right
it.
Here on what?
No, I was telling you I got the fire.
Are you gonna do both of them?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute right here on the BCSN Sports Wrap.
As we proceed to give you history, yeah, we built that. Pride, we fuel that. And on August 30th, we run that. Two powerhouse HBCUs, Howard Bison, FAMU Rattlers, one legendary showdown under the Miami lights at Hard Rock Stadium. The energy unmatched. The culture undeniable. The vibes straight HBCU. 2025 Invesco QQQ Orange Blossom Classic. Get your tickets and book your hotel now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Saturday, August 30th at 4 p.m. in Miami Gardens.
HBCU football fans, the Cricket SWAC Challenge Kickoff is celebrating 20 years this August. From Birmingham to Orlando to campus sites and now in Atlanta. The Cricket SWAC Challenge Kickoff has been a mainstay in HBCU athletics. 2 decades of providing a national platform on ESPN and now ABC for the finest HBCU programs in the country and some of the most talented players and coaches that have represented them. To Forrest Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Javon Hargrave, Darius Leonard, Rod Broadway, Buddy Pugh, all have left their mark on this storied event. This year, we celebrate by welcoming North Carolina Central and Southern to Atlanta, which has cemented its place as the HBCU football capital. Every team who participates in this event looks to start and finish their season in the A by gaining a spot in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. That, however, is earned by becoming conference champions. And it starts right here in Week 0. MEAC versus SWAC. The rivalry is real. Thank you for the last 20 years of support. The story never ends.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D. here. Appreciate all of you guys hanging in and watching us as we have gone through the past week. Man, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, one of the busy summer, most busy weeks of the summer, where we had 3 conference football media days. We had the HBCU Swingman Classic, and then we had on Thursday an event that Drew is very excited about. It was the SWAC Challenge Kickoff press conference featuring the Eagles of North Carolina Central and the Jaguars of Southern University. Southern, of course, 3-0 in these SWAC challenges. This is the 20th year. And of course, I love that 90-second spot, Drew, because it gives you the history. It tells you, I remember being at one of those Legion Field games, and then they moved it to Orlando for a few years, right here in the backyard. And it's a crazy thing. I never actually went to any of the ones in Orlando, sadly. Then they moved it a couple of years. That's why they
moved it, because you never showed up.
Look, if I didn't show, that kind of explains it, right? It was hot though. That's all I know. It was hot. Those games were, Jesus. Then it was moved to a couple of campuses, and great conversations that we had with Executive Director John Grant. The event was really on its. It was very close to being pulled, in those years. And I don't know if it was entirely all related to the attendance versus the viewership numbers, but John Grant fought, and I mean not physically, but literally, but I mean he basically had to go in and convince the folks at ESPN that hey, this event needs to move to Atlanta because of just Atlanta and what it means to HBCU events, fans, schools, right? And then eventually he was able to get them to move it to week 0. And moving it to week 0 from off of week 1, like when it first moved to Atlanta, Drew,
it was Labor Day weekend.
Yes, it was Labor Day weekend. And I think that first game was even played at like 1 or 2 o'clock.
It was an afternoon game because I remember it was hot and I was there.
Right.
And that's when I did not have a media pass.
Yes. And
so
it was
in the stands.
It was Prairie View and
Bethune. No, not Bethune.
No, next year. The first year it was Prairie View and
was it Central?
It might have been Central. It might have been Central and Prairie View in that first year. I just remember the little tailback from Prairie View running all over. I think it was Central. That was a high scoring game too. It was like 42-20 or something. But Prairie View, who at the time athletic director was Ashley Robinson, was the AD. And
it was Prairie View. It was Prairie View. I do know that.
Yes, it was Prairie View.
Because Ashley Robinson was athletic director at Prairie View.
Yep.
In 18. And then he was athletic director at Jackson in 19.
Right. Exactly.
And there's a story that we were told in back pages that I don't think we need to repeat about how
I'm not gonna tell it.
Prairie View.
I'll let you do the work with John Grant and see if John Grant will tell it.
That's
when
John's
he comes
story
on the show.
to tell.
Yes. Dewanya Tucker. Thank you, G Boom. Thank you. I knew he was it was a little guy. He was a dude, a baller. But yeah, so 20 years of the MEAC SWAC kickoff challenge. What'd you say? Oh, what were you you had your hand up. What were you gonna add?
I was gonna ask Chuck, did something for the first time, Chuck Hunt.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So
you did watch the replay, but for the first time ever, the press conference was streamed live.
Exactly. It was on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So obviously, Jay Walker was the host. I think it's like the second, it's like at least the third year that Jay's been the host. You see Trey Oliver to the left, Terrence Graves to the right. I think both universities' athletic directors were there in attendance. And then you can see there's I believe Jay Walker with one of the sponsor executives from Cricket Wireless. That's so left to right, you have Trey Oliver, then you have executive director John Grant, Cricket Wireless representative, Jay Walker, and then Terrence Graves going from left to right. Yeah. Good stuff. And even your boy got a chance to meet George, White George. Shout out to George, who I think we said he will be coming on the show. We will get him to come on the show one of these upcoming Sundays, and storyteller. And I think he said he has about 60 more HBCUs to visit. But yeah. So I found out, Drew, not only, and again, I met George at the social the night before. I recognized him instantly because my sister is a big fan of his. And then get this, my aunt, she loves, I'm talking like his feeds are the first thing after she puts her feet on the ground, give thanks to God, maybe reads the Bible, the first thing she's on social media doing is checking George's post. So it's like God, Jesus, White George. So I learned that. I was bugging. I'm like, Auntie, you love George that much? She's like, look, child, what? I said, oh my God, okay. But anyway, so shout out to George. I can't wait to have him on the show. All right. So Yeah, so again, the SMIAC SWAC Challenge press conference, by far and away best lunch spread. And look, the SWAC did a good job for lunch, like for media day. If you got it, if you were able to get the fish, chicken, the mac and cheese, the green beans, the chocolate cake, if you were able to get any and all of that.
I had the cheesecake.
Oh, see, I didn't mess with. I saw how good that chocolate cake looked. Oh my God, it was so good.
See,
I only ate half of it too because I knew my sugar numbers might have gone through the roof. So I only had about 5 bites. I
just took an extra cholesterol pill after I ate the cheesecake.
But no, I mean the chicken. And so we go from that good spread. If you got it, media day. Shout out to the SWAC or to Sheridan. Really, you got to give a shout out to the Sheridan for that. But then Georgia Southern. If that meal came from the Georgia Southern, I mean the wings.
And it did.
Woo, I mean they had teriyaki wings, lemon pepper. Woo, my God.
Hot wings.
Man, it was good. It was so good. So
barbecue wings.
That's why I go. That's why I go to the SMIAC SWAC. I told Mr. Grant, that's Mr. Grant, you have me every year. If y'all keep feeding media like this, I cover and I'll do whatever you need me to do. Just feed me. Shoot, it was good. But okay, anyway. So that was all good stuff. Drew, give us behind the scenes, man, because you were an integral part, you and the people that you work with, and the names escape me on all of the young ladies who I had to work with. But talk a little bit about the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and making that happen.
I do want to shout out Lavasha, Alexis, and Grayson. Those are the 3 people that I work with closely. And Brian, it's refreshing. And I told them this. I was like, I don't know if y'all realize this, but everything the 4 of us are doing here to get this press conference, all these different things that you see, the different posts that you see on social and everything else that we're doing as a 4-person team, I have to do all that by myself where I work at. So coming over here is easy, relatively, not that it's easy, but relatively speaking, for what I do for my 9 to 5.
You wish you had this kind of team group.
Yes,
to work
my
with.
5 to 9 is easy because of those 3 people, along with of course our leader John Grant and Edgar. But putting this thing together, we wanted to try something different this year. For those of you all who don't know, Michelle Jinks, who has been the media coordinator for about a decade or so for the
Legend
Celebration Bowl and the MEAC SWAC Challenge, decided to retire. And I was given the opportunity to come in and fill her shoes. And one of the things, putting together that event that we did Wednesday night, did you get it?
I don't know. Sorry about that.
But putting together, and like I said, Wednesday night, that event, there's nothing but people who cover HBCU athletics, along with the staff people on the ESPN side. So getting together, showing them our appreciation, thanking all them, because Brian, we can say this. No one's ever showed any type of appreciation to the members of the media. They've been taken for granted for so long. Doing something like this, that we're going to make an annual thing, is something that I felt was important, having come from that side. You call us, you want to scoop us without scooping us, because we can't quote you on it, but you have this information that you want to get out, or that you want to get a feeler out, and we have to be able to creatively put this out without telling who our sources are. And this is for any level of media, and then you tell us stuff, and we have to keep your secrets, and have to be discreet in the information that we put out. Putting that event together Wednesday night just shows how important these people are. It just shows a little love for those people. Then Thursday, now mind you, SIAC Tuesday,
SWAC
Wednesday, media event Wednesday night, media appreciation event Wednesday night. So Thursday morning, on about 4 hours of sleep, I'm in there, try to get everything set up. And while I'm talking about them, I also need to shout out Roy Evans, CEO of the Black College Sports Network, and Brian Fulford for pushing the buttons behind the scenes, for letting you guys see that the live production of the SWAC Media Day. The students over at Georgia State and their media department did the production. They ran the cameras. They did the technical things. Mm-hmm. It was Black College Sports Network's job to take the feed that they were producing and to get it out to everybody. They did not do that. So the two people who I trust the most to do that, Roy and Brian, got it out. Made sure the YouTube feed was up. Made sure the internal feed was up. Made sure the Instagram was up. Made sure the Facebook was up. Not that I don't know how to do all of these, but considering everything else I had to do.
Yes.
And one of the things that I have learned is I need to rely on other people who I trust to do things and hold them accountable for doing it. Did not have to hold them accountable because they stepped to the task and did what I needed them to do. So then after that, it's just making sure everybody shows up, point and click. And did you notice something, Ryan? We started on time.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
we started at 11 o'clock, and I almost hate to use this phrase, WPT.
Yeah, see, hold on. You froze up because you were about to say something you probably didn't need to say, Drew. You didn't. Don't say whatever you were going to say. The internet cut you
promptly
from saying it.
Promptly.
Yes.
We started at 11 o'clock promptly.
Yes,
and we were scheduled to be done at 12 o'clock. We finished at 11:56.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one thing that you carried on the tradition. I know Michelle was very big on that, about making sure we start on time when we're supposed to start and end when we're supposed to end. And so,
the only thing that disappointed me was somebody did not listen to my instructions before we began. At 5 minutes before we began, I got up on stage, off camera, and reminded everybody, go ahead, take your seats, and to please do what, Brian?
Okay. In all fairness, the person whose phone went off, I don't know who he was, but I think he was an administrator for Georgia State. I think he was one of the suits that was walking around in the back, and I don't know if he was there. He was even a little embarrassed that his phone went off. So he knew, but he was I could tell, some people you look at and say, okay, he must be important because I'm just watching him move. I don't know his name, but he was one of the important people. I think that you'd be okay with his phone going off. And he was he was embarrassed. So, I mean, he knew, so it wasn't like somebody who asked a chat GPT question and their phone going off. It wasn't that, you know what I'm saying? It was really somebody important whose phone went off. And so I wanted you to know, because it was towards the end and I knew you heard it, but he was near me and I saw it and I was like, oh, okay. But he's somebody important. I never asked who he was and what he does. I don't like being that guy, but anyway.
Yeah. And then when our cricket representative got up to speak, she forgot to adjust the microphone. So the 2.3 seconds you actually saw me on camera was me coming to adjust her microphone, because I tried to give her a few seconds to see if she was going to adjust it, and she wasn't. So I had to come quickly adjust her microphone.
Good job on that. Yeah.
Yes. But I think from where I was at, everything went well. When the bright lights came on, everybody performed. Jay did a great job moderating once again. And let me say something about Jay Walker. Well, not necessarily. Jay does a great job of reading the room, understanding. He knows the history of these. Hell, he's called every one of these games. Mm-hmm. So he knows this. because he played at Howard, he understands HBCU culture.
He does.
And everything else. Advice. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I got to say this. Whoever your moderator is for an HBCU event, especially a press event of this magnitude, make sure that if you can't get an HBCU person, like somebody who graduated from or played at or coached at HBCU, get somebody with some decent HBCU knowledge or HBCU ties. Can't always go with local people, Brian.
Offline, I have to find out.
I'm not.
I know you're not. I'm not going to say on air, but now, because there's been a few press conferences for classics over the last month, so I'm kind of like, who is Drew talking about now?
Just
long answers only in the chats.
Just the questioning and the. You need if you don't know, please have your cue cards or your phone ready so that you know who the coaches are, who the people on stage with you are, that you know their name, and 2 to 3 bullet points about them, such as how long they've been at that institution and things of that nature.
Hey, since you brought up questions, right?
No, let's not go there.
This is all I'm gonna say. We need to do a special show or a special segment on question etiquette for media or just new media folk, because there's a lot of new media folk. There's a lot of entities that pop up at these press conferences. You're like, who? I've never heard of that outlet. Where are you from? And so I always want to kind of take note of the entity that they say, because you do have to get up and introduce yourself and say where you're from or who you're covering for, right? And then
let me cut you off right there. And even I make sure that I give the proper way to introduce yourself. Please state your name and your media outlet, and I make sure that is announced before the press conference. And usually, and Jay does a good job reminding people when we open up the Q&A to please state your name and your media outlet. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And everybody follow that. But there are certain. I think it's very hard to look. Asking questions is not easy, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to ask a question that See, I know when Drew goes away, Drew's like, oh, I don't want to be on camera for this. When you ask a question, you have to ask a question in a way that gives the people on the dais or on the podium, the coaches, you got to give them something that they can answer. You can't give them a statistical
context.
Yes, you can't give them statistical analytics and ask them to comment about statistics. These are football coaches. These football coaches aren't data analysts. You know, you can't ask them a question related to, yes, it needs to be open-ended. You cannot ask yes/no questions, but you don't make it too complicated, because at the end of the day, they will go back to they'll go back to coach speak, right? So you've got to be very you got to think about who your constituents are, and you need to have about 3 or 4 questions ready, because
somebody's going to take one of your questions.
Somebody may take one of your questions. Now, and
to that point, let me throw this out. We also had a Zoom option for members of media who could not get there.
Yes.
That the people who were watching live did not know. The people on Zoom did not ask a question because, and I asked them afterwards, they said every question that they wanted to ask, somebody in the audience actually asked that question or a similar question. So they didn't want to come on and just embarrass themselves or ask the same question. And if your question has been taken, then just don't ask.
It is what it is. Yeah.
If you can't quickly pivot, okay. Exactly. Oh well, you were there.
Or you and here's another thing, another trick we learned, right? if you're listening to the coaches, you may come up with a new question based on something they said. That comes from listening to the person that you're interviewing. See, it's not just about asking the question, but it's also about listening to their response. Because, yes, so Kenneth knows what I'm talking about. All right, I'm glad somebody does, so we can laugh together here. And I will say this, Edwin I didn't ask any questions, but I did feed a question. I fed a question, just doing some research, because I was really inquisitive of the fact that North Carolina Central is one of, now my data said 3, but Coach Trey Oliver, I think, said it was like 5, but let's just say a handful. There's only been a handful of schools from the most recent NCAA APR reporting that achieved a perfect score. And I'm talking football programs. It's probably the one sport where you get the lowest number of perfect scores. I haven't done the data to back me up, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But my data said 3, Trey Oliver said 5. One of those schools was North Carolina Central. And so I think I love Doc's question. Doc asked a great question to Trey Oliver about how that came about and the work that goes into that. But that is to be celebrated. Like when you get these press conferences, you got to figure out something unique about each school, and maybe you try to highlight or celebrate that. And I thought for a team like North Carolina Central, who we are aware that they're opted out of the House settlement, they're the only school in the MEAC to do so. The one thing that they did have is that 1,000 APR, which is a major achievement,
especially in football.
Especially in this era of the transfer portal, to be able to have a 1,000. And Coach Oliver gave a great answer, and it gives you some insight into why his program is as successful as it is. So those are the kind of things that can come out of press conferences. If you are a media member that is there to find out answers to inquiring questions and not really trying to, as the kids say, gaslight a coach, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, Bryan, I think you and I were blessed. Obviously, you did your major. You did do some journalism classes along with graduating from School of Business. I was strictly SBI, School of Business and Industry. But the one thing, God rest Dr. Mobley, Dr. Sybil C. Mobley, but the one thing that she taught us is how to ask a proper question, how to do your research.
Research, yes, sir. Yep.
How, give your 1 or 2 facts, your context that leads into your question.
Yep.
And also, I did work in politics. I worked for city government, county government, and I will say my former mayor Johnny Ford. Worked closely with him. The one thing that I learned from him is how to read a room and to be able to pick up and ask and answer questions based on the room. He was good, especially doing political debates about just taking 2 or 3 notes about what the question was, what his opponents were saying, and being able to pivot and spin and give a proper answer with that. And that is a skill set, Bryan. Everybody cannot do that. So so I've been blessed. I don't think I've asked a Chat GPT question, but if I have, it's been rare. But like Steve said, everyone who could, having journalists who understand how to read a room is important. You don't have to ask a question just to ask the question during the presser. They have time usually after the pressers that you can talk to these coaches individually. That's when you ask that question. And you may re-ask that same question so that you can get it on tape.
Right.
But anyway.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, the one piece of breaking news regarding the MEAC SWAC Challenge actually came out on Saturday's Carlos Brown show. If you were listening to John Grant's his interview with Carlos Brown and the panel on Saturday, obviously the schedules for the MEAC SWAC Challenge had been set up to 2027 as we knew it, but he revealed the 2028 matchup and that he is working on 2029. But that 2028 matchup, I believe, and I don't know, Drew, can I say who it is, or are we correct on that?
I mean, he according to what John Grant said on the Carlos Brown show, now you can say it.
Yes, the 2028 MEAC SWAC Challenge will be between Jackson State and Norfolk State. So, yeah. So in 3 years, and obviously trying to be 3 to 4 years ahead is the goal. So who knows what Norfolk State will look like? Will Mike Vick still be the head coach in 3 years? Will TC Taylor still be the head coach at Jackson State in 3 years? But it'll be fun to kind of see that rotation. And obviously you have more teams right now in the MEAC than you do the SWAC. So the SWAC can continually, you could have a new SWAC team every 6 to 7 years and probably get a new MEAC team every 4 years. I don't know. There's some MEAC teams we haven't seen. Have we seen Morgan State in this thing yet recently?
Not recently.
Not in Atlanta? No, haven't seen.
Not in the Atlanta version.
Yeah, not in Dell State. We haven't seen Dell State in the Atlanta version either.
No.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Again, we teased it a little bit. Oh, Edwin, is that wishful thinking by Edwin? Is that wishful thinking? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Coming up this week on Tuesday.
Oh, before you pivot, if you want to go back and watch the replay of the MEAC SWAC Challenge press conference, go to MEACSWACchallenge.com, and it is there in the media section. You can go back and watch the full replay of the press conference right there on the website. And that is also the place where you can buy your tickets for the game. Tickets are on sale. Plenty of good seats left, reasonably priced. This is a family-friendly event. You can get tickets for this particular game cheaper than some of you guys can get for your own games on your own campuses. Just want to let you know that.
There you go. The 2025 MEAC Football Media Day will be at M&T Bank Stadium Tuesday, July 22nd. That's Baltimore, Maryland. Get that off the screen. Jesus,
Super chat.
Johnny.
Oh, you know the rule on super chats.
I know. Appreciate you, Johnny. Johnny, I love that Johnny, he utilizes that super chat, man. Appreciate you, Johnny. All right. Don't make me pull that photo up, that reunited photo there, that off that of your boys from North Carolina Central. Don't make me pull that picture up. But anyway, from M&T Bank Stadium, home of the Baltimore Ravens, it'll be the MEAC Football Media Day. The Black College Sports Network will be in the house and broadcasting live. So if you saw our set and our setup at SWAC Media Day, well, guess what? We're bringing that same set to Baltimore on Tuesday. So I will not be there. I would love to go, but I'm not. Drew will be there. but I think he's working, obviously. Dr. Cavill will be in the house.
I'll be pulling double duty again.
Yeah, so Dr. Cavill will be there. Not really sure who else from our teams will be there, but we look forward to it. I mean, 6 teams to cover, it'll move faster. So, I mean, you know, in all, you'll probably be done by, I don't know what time they go live with the ESPN. I think, if I recall, they get the media stuff. They do the media stuff first, and then they do the ESPN broadcast at noon or 1 o'clock or something like that. And then after that, everybody goes home.
Except for me, I got to go sit at the airport.
So Drew, you've already teased out the fact that will the MEAC announce a secondary or conference streaming site? So that's your big ask. I wonder who do you think? I'm trying to think who will be number one. I think South Carolina State is going to go in. It's either going to be South Carolina State or North Carolina Central. One of those two schools is going to be preseason predicted number one. We know North Carolina Central has the returning quarterback. But South Carolina State, they are the defending champions.
I always go with the quarterback. Quarterback and coach combination.
Okay.
I would favor it. Now, here's the next question. Where do Norfolk and Delaware State fall? Where do they fall?
I think
Somebody's
Delaware State will be picked last. I think Delaware State will be picked last.
Delaware State will still be picked last?
Yes, definitely. That if there's one bet that I'm willing to put down right here on the table, they will be predicted last. Then they finished last year, and now you get a new coach who is literally a new head coach. So, yeah, I'm going Del State last. I think everybody's intriguing team to see will be Morgan State. We'll be looking to see, what Morgan State does. I would not be surprised if Del State and Norfolk State are predicted 6th and 5th, respectively. Wouldn't be surprised at all. 2 first-year coaches.
2 first-year, first-time coaches.
Yeah, first year, first time. Yeah, I mean, it's only right. I mean, look out who else there. You got Larry Scott of Howard, Damon Wilson, Morgan State, Trey Oliver, Chennis Berry. Come on, somebody's really going to have Norfolk State rated better than 5th. I would love to know who that person is.
All right, here's the next question, Brian. And we won't get this answer at media day, but will somebody go undefeated in the MEAC? I'm not asking a who. I'm just asking a if.
You got to win 5 games. Did South Carolina State go undefeated last year?
Last year, but you remember 2 years ago, Howard and Central were 4-1.
I'm going to go with the odds of no. I'm going to say no. Although I don't know really what I'm basing that on, but just if I'm looking at Central, their toughest games will be South Carolina State, Howard, Morgan. It's 3 games. I mean, winning all 3. I don't know if they're home or Johnny Thornton, you're in the room. Who's home and away? South Carolina State. Let me see. I'm trying to recall the games from last year. That's what it'll come down to. When I look at those top 4 teams, who's playing who home and away? And given the fact that it's only 5, I think here's another big question, Drew. Will the MEAC be able to find a partner to partner with for scheduling? Like, I think it's coming to a point where the MEAC is going to have to, just like what you see in the OVC and the Big South, I really it'll be interesting to see because I don't know who else is out there. If you can't get a Division II team to move, or one of those other two MEAC schools to field a football team, at some point MEAC is going to have to find a partner, or you're going to have to continue to work on getting a Division II school to come up to Division I.
I mean, you're at the point now you have to have 7 non-conference games in the MEAC.
Yeah,
because we're going to a 12-game schedule.
And look, that's challenging in itself. But if these schools want to have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, okay, so home against State, Norfolk, Del State. So that means they go on the road to Howard, go on the road to Morgan. So yeah, now you ask me about being unbeaten. Yeah, somebody will be 4-1. But where was I going?
7 games.
7 games, 7 non-conference games. If you want to have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, just in case you finish second in the MEAC, because we know where the champions go, but the second place team has a chance to go to the playoffs, you have to play 7. And of the 7, you really can't afford
6
to play.
Need to be FCS games.
Thank you. That's where I was going to go. 6 need to be FCS.
But at least 5. At least 5 need to be FCSs, preferably 6.
Yeah.
Because that allows you 1 FBS, and that allows you 1 D2. If you get 5.
But I would prefer you to own. Look, if I were evaluating and look, do 1. If you play 1 FBS to go get money, don't play a D2. Don't play a D2. If you play a D2, don't play an FBS.
Brian, it's hard for the BX not to play a D2. Number one, the traditional rivals that a lot of them have. Pretty much everybody except Delaware State has a D2.
What, a CIAA rival?
Has a CIAA rival. Okay. That's a natural rival. You telling Norfolk not to go play Virginia State?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You telling Central not to go play at Winston?
I see what you're saying.
Or South Carolina State not to play at Benedict? You telling Howard not to play Morehouse or somebody like that? So you almost have to keep your D2 games because those are money games, Brian. Even though they're paying the D2, those are revenue gains for these schools. So,
right.
Nobody's going to pay to see Delaware State at Delaware, no matter where their game's at, or Richmond, or whoever else they have to play. Morgan Towson. How did that game do?
Yeah.
Attendance wise.
Right.
So Central Elon.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about it. But yeah, you're gonna have to keep those 5 games. But you are correct. The MEAC teams are in a better position to go to the playoffs. The number 2 team out the MEAC is in a better position to go to the playoffs than the number 2 team out of the SWAC ever will be.
Right. The last media day for this upcoming week will be Hampton and
Central. I mean A&T.
A&T. Their CAA football media day will be on Wednesday, July 23rd.
And where is that at?
It's virtual. So they do a virtual thing. Now they actually split theirs up over 2 days. So they have half the schools on Wednesday, July 23rd. And so since they split it up, Thursday, July 24th is actually when North Carolina A&T and Hampton do their media day, virtual media days. So you'll be able to go to CIAAsports.com to watch those media days. I'm assuming they're live based on the schedule information. So
the fact that the FCS conference has a virtual media day, does that say something about the media interest of football in that particular conference?
I think, look, you have school. I'm looking at the spread of schools from Albany, New York. No, Maine. Maine is the furthest north. Albany might be, it's a toss-up between Maine and Albany. But you have schools from Maine, Rhode Island, Delaware, New Jersey, North Carolina, Maryland, Pennsylvania. I mean, I don't know, man.
And they're more spread out in the SIAC, and we get together with Division II. You talking about from Florida all the way up to Ohio, Brian?
Yeah, and I guess the league offices are in Richmond, Virginia. So, I mean, I guess, that you could do it. I don't know. Be interested to find out what it's probably, and I think it's been virtual ever since COVID. I think they went COVID. COVID did virtual, and they just kind of kept with COVID. I mean, they just kind of kept doing virtual. It's like no need to do anything different. So, all right. I think that does it, Drew. I think we touched all the bases. We covered all the bases on this one. And that's going to do it for tonight.
Man, I appreciate you. Safe travels to all those of us who are traveling to Baltimore by plane, train, or automobile.
Yeah. Be looking out again for the Black College Sports Network live coverage from M&T Bank Stadium for the MEAC Football Media Day on Tuesday, July 22nd. We'll have we'll put out some information and let you know exactly the time. So be looking out for that tomorrow. Again, over the course of the next 24, 48 hours, you'll see some more clips coming out that feature some of the interviews that we did with the individual schools. Again, thank you to Jesus. I can't even with Johnny. Where was I going?
Man, let's pick up the show and go home. Man.
I know. I was trying to do a proper closeout, and you threw that up there right in the middle of my close, and now it's like I forgot what I was going to talk about. But anyway, yeah. All right, let's close the chat. Close the chat down so I can give the proper close. Thanks for watching the show tonight. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Thank you to everybody. Hit the thumbs up and the like button, however and wherever you're watching, if you can. And then also want to encourage you to go check out the BCSN Pod Zone, the aggregate of all of the shows that appear on the Black College Sports Network. The best Black sports podcast, according to Million Podcasts. Thank you. And you guys make that possible. So wherever and however you download, rate, review, subscribe, appreciate you all doing that. And we will be back again next Sunday with maybe some new guests and some more conversation. Thanks to Jamie Walker for checking in. You guys make sure to follow him and keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he recovers. Yeah, that's about it. Last words, Drew.
Everybody enjoy these 4 weeks. Everybody's 0-0, and the hype is not any bigger than now. Because let's think about it. After Labor Day, half of us would no longer be undefeated.
Well said. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching the BCSN Sports Wrap on the Black College Sports Network. Peace out, everybody.
Travel light, everybody. Wahala.
But you stay on hard.